Oxford, Mississippi, on a day unlike any other in its grand history, the college football playoff has arrived to the Grove. The Deep South's most universally accepted elevated tailgate, where the fans are ready to put the recent coaching change news cycle behind them and focus on a deep run of national championship hopes. Today, it's an old, long-time played series now with new age high stakes.
This is just the beginning.
The time has come. These select few will not finish.
A historic night here for the Green Wave.
This is the greatest era of Ole Miss football ever.
I need some very best.
It's about everybody in this group right here.
An electric touchdown, Ole Miss.
This is just the beginning.
Welcome to the Temple of Hottie Top, where a rematch awaits.
The first time we played wasn't to our standard.
It was kind of embarrassing. We've come together as a team. We're peaking at the right time.
To surge forward, the Wave must face the Rebel base.
Chambliss throws. Touchdown, Ole Miss!
We are going to turn a lot of heads. We can go far in this playoff.
The climb starts now.
What do you want the legacy of this team to be?
This is just the beginning.
From Vaughn Hemingway Stadium here in Oxford, welcome to the College Football Playoff first round, presented by Allstate. Ole Miss has had a sensational season, unbeaten at home. Their only loss, a fourth quarter heartbreak at Georgia. They earned the number 6 seed. They have a rematch against 11th seeded Tulane, the American Conference champions, the only group of 5 team with multiple wins over Power 4 teams this season. So thrilled you're with us, everybody. Joe Tessitore and Jesse Palmer with you. Quint Kesnick and Katie George will join in the conversation in a moment as we welcome you to the Amazon kickoff. Well, Jesse, Ole Miss dominated the first matchup back in September between these two teams, but things change. A lot has changed, like coaching changes. Tulane head coach John Sumrall, he's headed off to take over the Florida Gators. He's handled the situation beautifully. Meanwhile, Ole Miss and the whole sports world, they've lived through November and the drama with Lane Kiffin. Pete Golding is now the head coach. He was the defensive coordinator, and he's taken a player's first mentality.
He sure is, and I think the big question a lot of people at home have watching this game is how good is Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin on the sidelines? What we know for years, and certainly this year too, with Lane Kiffin, this is one of the most explosive and one of the most balanced offenses in the country. As we take a look at our Amazon spotlight, they can hurt you in a variety of ways. It's a pick your poison dilemma. You want to play 2 high safeties, only have 5 guys in the box defensively. They pull the left guard. You get Kewan Lacey out at the second level. He's got tremendous speed and 20 rushing touchdowns this year. If you want to play with 1 safety in the middle of the field and play man-to-man with 6 guys in the box, well, now Ole Miss is going to take advantage of the one-on-ones outside. Here's Deuce Alexander on a fade route. This happened in the first game this year against Tulane. And finally, if you're Georgia, you want to get aggressive, play cover 0, no safety deep, 7 close to the line of scrimmage, you better tackle. If not, you've got Stribling here just running a little hitch route, makes a guy miss, and that's a 75-yard touchdown. So yeah, Ole Miss doesn't have one of the great offensive minds in the game on the sidelines for this one, but they still have a very good staff, a lot of smart people. They know the offensive system, and more than anything, they've got playmakers spread out all over this offense. Without question, I expect them to continue scoring points.
Yeah, you see the speed of receiver there just with that one highlight. Of course, really unique circumstances here in Oxford. The November of coaching, chaos, turmoil, and now the emotion of it all arriving with the postseason.
I know that there's a lot of feelings and emotions right now around. I hope when they settle down that there's an appreciation about what we were able to do here.
They laid down with the devil and now they're mad that their town's on fire. He's a PR nightmare. He will ruin your life.
While these fans certainly felt betrayed by Lane Kiffin's departure, that's not the sense we got from Ole Miss's players this week. Trinidad Chambliss said we were not shocked that he left. He had to entertain that offer. We just wanted him to make the decision so that we could focus on the college football playoff game. Their biggest concern was who was going to coach in this game. He felt like it was the right decision to elevate Pete Golden, and they said they had a swagger with Lane Kiffin on the sidelines. He had an aura. Well, they're going to have to find that swagger within themselves. Now let's send it over to Quint Kesnick, who's covering a less messy breakup. Quint?
John Sumrall
Summerall was hired as the head coach at Florida on November 30th. So for the last 3 weeks, he has been running 2 different programs. That's 2 different jobs. He's got 2 different phones. And often at night, he only gets 2 hours of sleep. He's been zigging and zagging from New Orleans to Gainesville, running 2 programs. He said, you just keep working until you pass out at night. And this is a coach who's given a master class on multitasking and time management, all with the goal of leaving Tulane the right way. A novel concept here, Joe, in Oxford.
It is Quint, and he has handled things beautifully, spending so much of the week with him. You can just tell in the reception from the players. Now here come the Rebels. And speaking of receptions, even in pregame, the roar for this man, Pete Golding, his first game ever as a head coach. Here come the Rebels. Can Ole Miss earn a place on New Year's Day in the Sugar Bowl in a rematch with Georgia? We find out next. You're watching the Amazon Kickoff on TNT. Back on September 20th, when Ole Miss throttled this Tulane team 45-10. Trinidad Chambliss had 300 yards passing, 100 yards rushing, just his second start. They had 548 yards of total offense, held Tulane to 282. Quint is with Green Wave head coach John Summerall.
Yeah, 3 months ago it was a 35-point defeat. How do you play better today?
We just have to execute better, play to our standard, play clean, do our job at an elite level. They're a good football team. So are we. We got to show it today.
Thank you, Coach. Katie is with Coach Golding.
Thanks, Quint. Coach, in a time of change, what's impressed you about the way your guys have handled the last few weeks?
Just their resiliency, their grit. They're ready to play a real football game, so they've been locked in, so I'm excited to watch.
Best of luck.
Appreciate it.
So here we go. Winner advances to the Sugar Bowl to play third-seeded Georgia in the CFP quarterfinals. Last night, we saw what happened with Alabama defeating Oklahoma. Just moments ago, the Miami defense at the last second shutting down Texas A&M to advance to the Cotton Bowl Classic against Ohio State. And now we need to know who's headed to New Orleans. Ole Miss won the toss, and they elect to receive. Amazing atmosphere here in Oxford. Finally, after all the recent success, the 3 straight double-digit win seasons, they are a college football playoff team in one of the great, history-rich, tradition-rich, filled with pageantry venues in the sport. Isaiah Hardtrip back to return the Patrick Durkin kickoff. 73 of his 82 kickoffs have gone for touchbacks. And that is the case again. So, Jesse, we say good afternoon to Trinidad Chambliss, who finished 8th in the Heisman and had 7 300-yard passing games.
Well, Joe, he's an ultimate dual-threat quarterback, no question. Can hurt you with the arm. He's a very accurate deep ball thrower, but can hurt you running it as well on designed runs and in scrambles. And since taking over in Week 3 against Arkansas, he's put up over 3,400 total yards, 4th most in the nation.
Boy, does he have a good one in the backfield with him, with Kewan Lacey, the excellent starting running back for Ole Miss. They're going to get it out quickly into space to Stribling, who is so dangerous. Remember, he had a similar play like that against Georgia that he took all the way that you were just highlighting.
Well, that's one thing Ole Miss does a lot in this offense. They throw these little 5-yard hitch routes outside, and they use that as an extension of the running game, but there's a lot of pressure on the cornerback out there. That time it was Shine, not able to get a tackle on Stribling.
30-yard reception to open up the game. Play action. Chambliss will get it to Wright, the dangerous tight end. And the Ole Miss offense is making this look too easy. 2 plays in, they're already knocking on the door to score.
Well, a little play action just freezes a couple of linebackers right here, and that allows Daquan Wright to clear over top on the drag route. They go fast. They only average 23.8 seconds between plays, and already here, Ole Miss knocking on the door in the red zone.
25-yard reception for Daquan Wright. Lacey's first touch straight up the middle and straight into the end zone. You cannot start better than that.
Well, a fantastic job getting a block out here in a kick out, and then it's Lacey in the back. He's just going to make Javion White miss. He leads the nation. That's now his 100th forced missed tackle. 3 plays, that all it took. No Lane Kiffin, no problem.
Hernero adds the extra point. It took 59 seconds. Remember, they won the toss. They said, we're going to take the ball and we're going to do this. Of course, these 2 programs go all the way back. Original SEC rivals back in the day. The 75th all-time meeting. Yes, that's right. From 1933 to 1965, Tulane was a member of the SEC. In recent history, it has been the Rebels dunking all over the Green Wave. They have won 14 straight. And of course, this is a rematch from what happened on September 20th when Ole Miss won 45-10.
And what a way for the Pete Golding era to start here at Ole Miss. Not only do you have this platform and this stage in the history of this game, the first ever home college football playoff game to get that opportunity, but his offense goes down the field in 3 quick plays and get on the board.
And we talked about it. We were down on the field pregame when Golden stepped out onto this field just for warm-ups. This place roared. Jake Retzloff is a very talented dual threat quarterback. 16 rushing touchdowns on the season. That is tied for first in major college football.
And Joe, he's a very natural passer, can throw it from a lot of different slots, and he's really good at anticipating throws, plays on time. But he's also, I think, an undervalued runner, leads the team in rushing. It's deceptive with his speed. 16 rushing touchdowns, tied for the most of any quarterback in the nation now. In the last game against Ole Miss, he started 0 for 9. It's really important in this game he's able to find a rhythm early.
Especially considering what Ole Miss just did on offense. McClure's going to take the ball, and it's a good run by Jamari McClure to open up the game for the Green Wave. Look at the impact players, the way Jesse sees it.
Well, Jamari McClure has really come on these last 4 games. It's important to establish the run. Shaz Preston is their most talented receiver outside. Will Eccles dominated this game the first time with 8 tackles, and Suntarian Perkins can do it all, rushing the passer, playing in zone coverage, and spying.
2nd and 1, play action. Retzloff steps up, will carry it ahead for the first down and works his way close to midfield where he's run out by Andrew Jones.
Well, that time Ole Miss in a pass rush got way out of their lanes, and you could have driven a truck right up the middle right here. And Retzloff, he's looking down the field for a throw. They love play action. That's a good, timely decision. We talked about his legs and how big of a factor that is for Tulane's offense. It's going to be in designed runs, but it's got to come up in scrambles as well, just like that.
16-yard run by Retzloff. McClure. And this time he is met in the hole. That was Xavier Harris with the tackle.
Well, you know, if you're Tulane, you just want to take the air out of the ball. You want to possess it. You want to stay on the field, eat up as much clock as you can. Keep Trinidad Chambliss and that explosive offense on the sidelines. You can do that 2 ways. By running the football, and they're probably going to have to be aggressive this game on 4th downs, going for it. It's going to be big they get those conversions. Try and stay in this game.
Yeah, stay on the field, maybe steal possession here and there. Just try to shorten the game against the explosiveness of the Rebels. Second and 7. McClure bottled up after a gain of 1. That was Eccles with the tackle. Of course, Jesse, with all the coaching change comes how do you handle the coordinators, some of the position coaches. Well, Pete Golden, one of the best defensive coordinators in recent years, he's still calling the defense.
He is, and he's got his pulse on this, scheming, building up to this game. He's a guy that used to call this thing up in the box. He's down on the field now, eye level. As a head coach, we can look his players in the eye. Certainly a big third down moment here for Ole Miss's defense.
He was calling the defense against Tulane back in September. His defense had 5 tackles for loss. Here's a 3rd down and 6. Retzloff against a 4-man rush, sidearmed it to Hayes, and Hayes will dive ahead for a Green Wave first down.
Well, it's a really good job by Amari Hayes that time, catching the ball and getting north right away. He just settles down in a soft spot in the zone, and as soon as that ball's on him, he doesn't hesitate. He's able to split the tackle by Antonio Kite and the linebacker Andrew Jones and pick up a big first down to keep this drive going again. They want tick, tick, tick. Seconds coming off the clock.
As they shuffle it ahead, Brendan Sullivan came in the game and got it to Hayes. So you had both quarterbacks in the game right there.
And that time, Hayes dropped the ball. That should be an incomplete pass for Tulane. But anytime you have the backup quarterback in, you got Retzlaff coming this way, and the shovel's coming from that side. It's normally a trick play if Tulane has both quarterbacks in the game. And head coach John Summerall told us, we've got more trick plays dialed up in this game than we've had at any point this season, and we are not afraid to use them.
And with good reason. So 2nd and 10 after the incompletion. Gordon is probing for anything, but he is driven back after making it back to the line of scrimmage. And that was Eccles, again, a very active defensive tackle.
And we talked about his big game the first time around. Only a true sophomore, 8 tackles. He also batted a ball down. He comes out of the game. So if you're Tulane here on 3rd and long, receivers have got to win. And in the first meeting back in September, their receivers could not separate and get open and give Jake Retzlaff a place to throw in that game, especially early. So this is a big moment for them. See if they can find a window for Retzlaff.
Only had 282 total yards in that first meeting. 3rd down and 10. Retzlaff gets it complete, and it's Brown-Stevens with the reception right at that line to gain. Anthony Brown-Stevens, the nephew of music superstar John Legend. First down, Tulane.
Sorry, Joe. That's an outstanding route that time against Wydett Williams. He's over here. He's going to stem inside and then break out one-on-one against the safety. We talked about receivers having to win. He's able to keep that separation. It's a good throw on time by Retzlaff, and another big conversion on 3rd down.
He's piecing together this opening drive, the Green Wave. Gordon finding a seam off right tackle as he works his way inside the 25-yard line.
And that's a good run for this Tulane offense. That was something they were able to do in the last game. They averaged 4.6 yards a carry, but what they didn't have was their starting left tackle, Derek Graham, in that game. Big number 76, the transfer from Texas A&M. It was Shadre Hurst instead starting at left tackle. They believe they can run the ball again in this one, especially now that they're fully loaded on the offensive line.
Makes a big difference. 2nd down and 4. Gordon motions out. Retzlaff sidearms it, and it's intercepted. That is Braxton with the pickoff for the Rebels. Jalen Braxton with the interception.
That is a huge play for the Ole Miss defense. They were blitzing that time. Jake Retzlaff had to get rid of this thing quick. And on the back end, Jalen Braxton, the Arkansas transfer, a cornerback, was sitting on that route and waiting. Trey Shackelford ran the slant route, and he was able to jump it, make the interception, and get upfield. It's right over here. He was squatting on it. Shackelford never turned his head to find that.
After the interception and during the return, personal foul, horse collar tackle, passing team number 15. A 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play. First down, Ole Miss. timeout on the field.
Now, Retzloff coming into this game, he had only thrown 6 interceptions on 359 attempts. Today, this is how the game opens up defensively for the Rebels. Jalen Braxton with the INT. Stripes high above, where aerial coverage is brought to you by Goodyear. Tried, tested, proven legendary. A lot of legends here today at Ole Miss. Archie and Eli Manning, Patrick Willis. Jesse, you were visiting with Patrick Willis pregame. Yeah. Everybody here for the first time they're a playoff team.
He hugged me and I think I punctured a lung.
Yeah. Kewan Lacey. And this is what Kewan Lacey has been doing all year long. Great block from Daquan Wright. Katie.
You know, Tess, the day of the Lane news, Charlie Weiss Jr. made it known to AD Keith Carter, to Pete Golding, to Trinidad Chambliss. He was going to coach in this game regardless if Lane allowed him to return or not. So Chambliss said that immediate reassurance put him at ease. He said, I need my OC. It was crucial for me to have Coach Weiss coaching in this game.
Well, look at the offense today early on as it is complete to Alexander, who spins his way inside the 5-yard line. They can do no wrong.
Well, a little fake toss that time to Winston Watkins here at receiver. He's going to be able to get outside, and he's just waiting for Deuce Alexander, one of our impact players, to clear over the middle of the field.
Lacey probing, and this time he's bottled up right at the line of scrimmage, but they had 5 straight plays of 20-plus yards.
And Katie was just talking about Charlie Weiss Jr., their play caller offensively. You know, a lot of people think Lane Kiffin was calling the offense this season. It wasn't him. It was that guy right there. And he's in a very good rhythm early in this one, running and throwing the football. You're seeing tremendous balance and explosive plays by Ole Miss.
John David Baker will be coming in as the next offensive coordinator, has familiarity with the program. There's the block, and there's the score. Trinidad Chambliss just letting Lacey pave the way.
It's an unbalanced look. You've got Jaden Williams right here getting a block, and then it's Lacey getting up into the second level, getting some extra big guys at the point of attack for Ole Miss. And Chambliss, who absolutely went off with 112 rushing yards the first time these two teams played, is able to cap off the drive. And this offense, Joe, they've looked unstoppable early.
Offense looks unstoppable. Defense had an interception. Trinidad Chambliss has been perfect. Kewan Lacey got it started. 20-yard touchdown run. He has 21 rushing touchdowns on the year. Then he blocked the way for Trinidad Chambliss. Top 10 Heisman quarterback. Ole Miss is up early.
Football playoff first round is presented by Allstate. You're in good hands, and in part by AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
2023 Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. That's when Tulane upset USC. It was 46-45. They scored 16 points, Jesse, in the final 4 minutes. They could use any points right now.
They could, yeah. They're probably feeling a little bit of a shock. It feels like a sonic boom has gone off here at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium after how Ole Miss's offense has begun. It's really important for head coach John Sumrall and his quarterback, Jake Retzloff. They're able to find a rhythm here. You almost kind of get the feeling like on this drive, they've got to go down and score some points, try and get some of this momentum back.
Ole Miss scored 14 points in 7 plays so far. 2 minutes and 20 seconds of offense, 135 yards. Then they had the interception as well.
There's been a lot to like for me watching Retzloff on film. The BYU transfer, number 1, has tremendous arm talent. Here rolling out to his right on the go, Shaz Preston. He doesn't have a chance to set his feet. He throws this thing 53 yards in the air for the big completion. The thing I love most, though, is the anticipation on 3rd and 8. He doesn't have to see it open. He gets rid of this thing far before Anthony Brown-Stevens is able to turn around and make a catch on a deep curl. And finally, he's got touch as well. He can lay it over top of defenders. Here against Memphis, you got Bohannon coming in motion, running the deep crossing route. He's going to have to take a little bit off of this to get this over the defender, lays it in perfectly. We talked earlier, they've got to run the ball, and they do, but when times come to throw it, he can get it done.
McClure takes it out to the 30-yard line. I asked you earlier in the week, all right, so what does Tulane have to do? You said he's got to be in a rhythm early on. They started 0 for 9 the last time.
And he's been much better so far, outside of obviously the costly interception we saw there at the end of that last drive. But he's looked confident. He is throwing the football with a lot of conviction, and he's getting it out early, and that's something that has to keep up here for Tulane.
Retzloff on the run, but the pursuit down the line was too much for him as he barely gets back to the line of scrimmage. Will Eccles and T.J. Daugherty on the tackle.
Well, Ole Miss has a really unique, versatile piece on third down in this kind of situation. And number 4, Suntarian Perkins, an outstanding athlete at 6'2", 220, who can rush the passer off the edge. But in situations like this, oftentimes, they use him as a spy. And when you're playing against a mobile quarterback like Retzloff, he's a good weapon to use in case you want to mirror him and force the ball out of his hands early.
At 10.5 sacks a year ago, the second most in single-season Ole Miss history. 3rd and 5. Retzloff trying to extend the play, threw it high, but it was complete to Brown Stevens.
It's a nice job of just finding this completion. Brown Stevens is running an in-breaking route that he's going to try to spin out of it. Actually fell down on the ground. The Kentucky transfer wasn't even standing up, and you'll see right here, he's able to sort of collect himself on a scramble drill, makes a very awkward body catch to yet convert another 3rd down. That's one thing you got to say about Tulane's offense early in this one, Joe. On that critical down and distance 3rd down, they've been outstanding.
Yeah, 3 for 3 on 3rd down. Brown Stevens with a couple of catches. Retzloff being chased for a moment, but gets it complete. And this is Hayes downfield. So a good job by Retzloff to find Hayes.
Well, it's a nice job with a clear-out route that time, which opens up Amari Hayes. He's right here running this deep route. There's going to be nobody on the back side of that because of the go route to the outside on the right. We talked about the touch that Retzloff has, just laying it up and over top that time of linebacker Tosh Chambers for another big completion.
So 17-yard reception for Hayes. Retzloff, as he kept it himself, was taken down at the 41-yard line by Chambers.
And what Tulane is as an offense, they are a run, play action pass. They play with a lot of 2 tight end sets. They want to run it downhill. They want to run it between the tackles. But they go play action a lot, almost on 50% of their passing dropbacks. And like you saw 2 plays ago, when they can freeze linebackers and safeties, that's when they generate their explosive plays in the passing game.
McClure on 2nd and 6. As he kept his balance for a moment before he was driven back. It was Wydett Williams making the tackle. I think now, best defensive back all year long, Williams.
And I think now, if you're Ole Miss, you're trying to find a way to get off the field. But I feel like down 14-0 at this area, this has to be 4-down territory if you're Tulane. So maybe don't even be surprised if they run it here, knowing they're going to have to go for it inside the 40-yard line.
Yeah, they got to steal some possessions. They got to stay on the field. They got to find a way, and already down 2 scores. 3rd down and 3. And that is exactly what they do with McClure, who's tackled by Eccles, so it will be 4th down, Jesse.
It's a great job by Eccles that time. Completely beats Jordan Hall across his face. He's so athletic for a guy 6'3", 210 pounds. And able now to set up 4th and 2. So you got the big quarterback in Retzloff. Is this a situation, if you're Tulane, that you try to get some extra big bodies on the field, get up to the line of scrimmage quickly, and let your quarterback do it himself?
They're 12 of 19 on the season on 4th down. Summerall said all week long, we're going to play aggressive. We need to. Here's 4th and 2. They're going to use a timeout. Facing a 4th and 2. In the hole early. 14-zip. The college football playoff first round is presented by Allstate. Jesse, Pete Golding's Ole Miss defense is one of the best against 4th down opportunities.
They're only allowing 36% conversion. That's best in the SEC, 8th in the nation. There's a big moment right now. They've been struggling on 3rd down, but this on 4th, this is where they thrive.
4th down and 2 for Tulane. Retzloff. It's incomplete. He was looking for Amari Hayes, who could not corral it. A turnover on downs.
Well, that's a play Amari Hayes just has to make. You know this is going to be a really small window, and he's just running a curl route into a zone in between 2 defenders. And Chris Graves, the transfer from Miami, does a really nice job breaking on that ball, as does TJ Daugherty. But you just have to make that catch and find a way to stay on the field. It's a big missed opportunity for John Summerall. He knows it, and now the defense is back out there, and they have had no answer for Ole Miss.
Ole Miss has 7 plays and 135 yards of offense. How do you slow them down? Chambliss to pass on 1st down. A lot of traffic, and they do get the sack. And a flag comes in at the end as Westmoreland was able to collapse things on Chambliss.
Well, the pressure came from Chris Rogers at linebacker off the edge. I don't know if someone threw a punch out there.
May have been right at the end of the play. There is no flag there. 2nd and 17. Go back and take a look at that replay there as Alexander catches it and then is tackled immediately.
Yeah, it looked like there might have been a little extracurricular activity at the end of that play. You see Westmoreland there, just a little bit of a shove by Hopper that time, right into the throat of Patrick Kudus. Not called. 3rd down.
3rd down and 13. So a big opportunity for the Green Wave defense. Chambliss against the 4-man rush drives the ball complete to his tight end right, who's well short of the line to gain.
But that is a big win for Tulane. If Ole Miss decides to punt here, they just are trying to find a way to get off the field. And right now, Trinidad Chambliss in this offense, they're staying out there.
From their own side of the 50, 4th down and 4 from the Ole Miss 43. They're 67% on the year. 4th and 4 for Ole Miss. Now let's watch that play clock and see if he's just trying to draw him off. And indeed, that was the case. So finally, Tulane finds a way defensively after that red-hot start by Pete Golding's offense. The sack of Trinidad Chambliss put them in a hole.
I think there, if you're Tulane, you're just trying to stop the bleeding. You're trying to find a win any way you can get it. So forcing that 3 and out, that's a big one now for Tulane. And now the offense, they've got to be able to pick it up on their side. And they've got to be able to produce.
Oscar Bird on to punt. Hayes lets it bounce inside the 20-yard line. Jake Retzloff and the Green Wave offense now 14-0 with the ball when we come back. Folks, they just set the Guinness record for the most Santa hats. The previous record was 30,333, the Anaheim Angels game. It's now 68,002.
You look like Santa's naughty elves.
Guinness World Record.
I like being part of history, though.
Enjoy it. The largest gathering of people wearing Santa hats. And right now, the Green Wave offense could use a little Christmas cheer. It is caught. And this is Shaz Preston downfield, the explosive play they needed.
Now, I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure Retzlaff was even throwing this to Preston. I think he was throwing it to Justin Reed, number 88, right there, the tight end. running the deep corner route, and then Preston, the Alabama transfer, is able to run into it and take it down the sideline. He was a 5-star prospect coming out of high school, the number 3 ranked receiver who ended up picking Bama, transferred to Tulane, and he comes up with a massive play here at the end of the first quarter. 57-yard reception. They need a spark. They just got one. And now the quick game with Lewis. As Cy Carl Lewis weaves his way inside the 20. And they didn't do enough of that, I think, the first time these two teams played. Yes, they want to run the football and they want to get that established, but there are ways that you can spit the ball to the perimeter and get an extension of their running game. And that time, Lewis doing a nice job showing his quickness now, making this second down, 2nd and 2. End of the first quarter. And finally, some hope for the upset-minded Green Wave, the American champions, here at Vaught-Hemingway, where early on it has been all Ole Miss. The 6-seeded Rebels up 14-zip here. College football playoff, first round on TNT.
Oxford end of first quarter. Coach Summerall with us. Coach, you finally made a stop defensively. What changed?
Well, we got a negative play on the first down to start the drive. The first 2 drives looked like we never tackled before in our lives. Offensively, we're moving the football. We got to convert that 4th down. We need to go punch this in right here.
What's the biggest challenge your defense is facing?
Their speed. They're athletic on the perimeter. We got to challenge them a little bit more, get a little bit more attached in coverage.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Quint. To start the second quarter, they come with the end around. It's Brown-Stevens, but look at the pursuit by the Rebels defense. A tackle for loss, and it's Will Eccles again playing a big role. It was Chris Graves, a corner, though, that made the play. He was the one that got in the backfield. He missed the tackle, but he forced the runner to bounce outside. It's going to come from this side on the left. In the backfield, really good job here getting penetration after the reverse. You see it right there. Good job by Graves, and there's Eccles. You mentioned it, Joe. He has been all over the field for Ole Miss. Well, he was that way the first time they played it. 8 tackles and a pass breakup back on September 20th. 310-pounder who always shows up near the ball. 3rd down and 6. Retzloff. Incomplete. Defensively was Jalen Braxton, who had the interception earlier, and Shaz Preston was the intended target. And Joe, that was the same throw and the same route that he got the interception on. In another situation like this out here, he's waiting for the slant to come outside, and he's just going to squat on that. That's an easy one for him. He takes the inside away, and he's able to break on the ball and knock it away. The transfer from Arkansas is having himself a big day on the perimeter for Ole Miss. Patrick Durkin is the American Conference Special Teams Player of the Year, and he's out to try to get Tulane on the scoreboard with a 39-yard attempt. And he does just that.
We take a moment to offer our thoughts and condolences for Tulane head coach John Summerall and family. John's dad, George, passing away on Thursday night at the age of 77. The Huntsville, Alabama native, known for his faith, his grit, his hard work, his attitude, and his service. Dad was president at the American Championship game, the win over North Texas, and he was at the Florida introductory press conference. George never missed a game.
Our thoughts with John Summerall and his family. We had the chance to visit with John pre-game, and listen, we said it earlier, he has handled things beautifully with the transition of taking the Florida Gators job, but still seeing things through with Tulane, even donating to the athletic fund to make sure that the Green Wave are in good shape for years to come. It's amazing what he's been able to do, Joe, and I think he has 24 hours in his day just like we do, but he is redefining what multitasking is, giving Tulane all of his effort to get them ready for this game. Meanwhile, in Gainesville, putting a staff together, recruiting, wife's looking for a new home, you're looking for a school for your kids, and obviously doing all this with a very heavy heart after the tragic passing of his dad. We certainly wish him the best, and our condolences go out to Coach Summerall and his family. So the Green Wave with the field goal, 14-3 lead for Ole Miss. came right out. They wanted the ball right away, Jesse, and they delivered with it.
Did not take long. This is the third play of the opening drive. Kewan Lacey makes somebody miss, takes it in for the score, and then it's Trinidad Chambliss getting the block from Lacey that time, taking it in for a score again. I think if you're Tulane, their D-line has to step up and start making more plays. And you heard John Summerall talk about how they got a negative play on the first play of the last drive when he was talking to Quint Kessenich. This D-line, I think, is the strength of their defense, and they've got to start to impose themselves.
There's Lacey. As Lacey was driven back that time.
Well, on this D-line, they went to the portal in Tulane and brought in 6 new bodies, and they've got a lot of guys that can win one-on-one, and Harvey Dyson up front, Santana Hopper at D-tackle number 29, a third-team All-American, Jordan Norman. These guys need to start winning those matchups.
Lacey is tripped up just beyond the line of scrimmage. It was a good play by Kevin Adams.
And they're able to get pressure with just 4. And that's a big luxury to have if you're a defensive coordinator, Greg Gasparotto. You don't always have to blitz. You can trust your guys up front to win in those matchups here. But it's important not only to get pressure on Chambliss, you got to stay in your lanes because he can take off scrambling and hurt you.
They're down in 4. Chambliss checking, but you see down at the bottom of your screen, the Ole Miss coaching staff looking for a timeout. So they will use their first timeout of this first half. Chambliss back when he played Tulane. It was just his second start. And he was shining that day. Off to a good start here today. Facing a third down when we return off the timeout.
Welcome back to Oxford. It's been a big day early for Kewan Lacey at running back here. You see a nice job blocking at the point of attack. You're pulling Delano. Townsend gets a kick-out block. He's able to make a defender miss in the backfield. That was the third play of the game on offense for Ole Miss. And then Diego Pounds at left tackle getting into the second level. The tight end, Daquan Wright, rolls around to climb up as well, and they're freeing him up right now. 5 carries, 56 rushing yards, and a touchdown.
They came into this game, Jesse, with 99 forced missed tackles, 875 yards after contact as they motion him out here on 3rd and 4. Chambliss with a man in his face, and he escapes it. And then gets it complete as Stribling turns the corner for a first down for the Rebels.
Well, Sam Howard had Chambliss in the backfield for a sack. He's going to come free on the rush, and Chambliss is just able to make a miss. It's coming here, and he's able to break outside of it. Really good job of just extending the play, and there's the speed to keep it alive.
And here is Lacey as he tries to keep his balance, going ahead for 2.5 yards that time. Katie.
Well, Tesh, Joe Judge said Kewan Lacey's greatest strength is his ability to put his foot in the ground and get vertical immediately. He said a lot of young running backs make a cut and then they dance around side to side. Lacey plants and is vertical in a blink, and he's shown that today, guys.
Katie, I also like the way he just approached things with the coaching change when he was talking to you yesterday, saying, listen, we got to spot the ball mentality when it comes to this. Just go play. Let's go get a natty. Put that ball down and let's play some football. Forget Lane Kiffin and all the chaos of a month ago. He's hyper-focused for this postseason.
And one of really the great stories, too, of the year, right? You think about Ole Miss's offense. They've had to replace their leading rusher each of the last 2 seasons. And in comes Lacey, a guy no one really knew about. He only had 23 carries a year ago as a true freshman at Missouri, and he has run with a purpose. He's been an absolute workhorse. He's been the feature back, and here he is. His first year as the starter, the school's first ever Doak Walker Award finalist as the nation's outstanding running back.
Yeah, he's also top 25 in the country in yards after the catch per reception, 10.2, so he's dangerous in the passing game. Chambliss, that is incomplete on 3rd and 7. Alexander couldn't haul it in.
Well, we were just talking about Lacey and his ability running and catching the ball. He's also an outstanding pass protector. And that time, he's got to deal with a defensive end coming off of the edge. That should be a huge win for Tulane. But look how Lacey is just able to stone him and slow him down. And that's all the time Chambliss needed. That's a catch that Alexander needs to make. I know it was coming in fast, a little bit behind him. But a big missed opportunity. This running back here, man, he is versatile.
Oscar Bird punting away. Fielded by Hayes, who retreats inside the 15 and then is brought down after a gain of just 3 on the return. Well, they set a Guinness Book Records world record here. 68,002 Santa hats in one spot. Merry Christmas, everybody. Football playoff first round is underway. Of course, last night, Alabama coming back against Oklahoma. 34-24 as they advance to the Rose Bowl game on January 1st. And then earlier today, the Miami defense, Jesse.
No doubt, completely took that game over against Texas A&M. It was a sloppy game. Everybody was missing field goals, but the Miami defense creates 3 takeaways. They get 7 sacks. Ruben Bain goes off, and now that defense and that front is going to face Julian Sand, Heisman Trophy finalist, and a very explosive Ohio State offense. Lots of defense in the Cotton Bowl coming. Can't wait to see Alabama and Indiana as well.
College football playoff rankings brought to you by AT&T. We have 2 names that have advanced. Here we're going to see who goes to the All-State Sugar Bowl, and then JMU and Oregon tonight, a date in the Capital One Orange Bowl against Texas Tech. McClure off left tackle. That's a good run for Jamari McClure. And he's been playing his best football as of late. 400+ yards in the last 4 games.
And this is the bread and butter running play for Tulane. And when you're running zones, you got to be able to work double teams and then climb into the second level. A really nice job that time by left tackle Derek Graham, who missed the first game against Ole Miss. Getting into the second level, and McClure doing a nice job being patient, seeing the crease.
Well, they had players out of position on the offensive line when they got blown out back then. Brown Stevens trying to turn and twist his way for any positive yardage.
Well, you're seeing a little bit more misdirection here from Tulane as well, and throwing the ball on first down, being a little bit more aggressive. And that time trying to get Ole Miss's defense going one way before throwing it back to Anthony Brown Stevens. He had the only touchdown for Tulane the first time these 2 teams played.
McClure on second down, and he catches a seam and has 11 yards and another first down before he's met by T.J. Banks.
Well, the one thing McClure brings to this offense is he's got a burst. And when he gets in the second level, the tight end's coming in motion. He's actually not even going to block anybody. But you can see the explosiveness that McClure has. Once he sees the crease, a very small window to have to run through. This drive looking pretty good here for Tulane offensively.
12-yard run from Jamari McClure. They're going to feed him. He picks up another good block from his tight end, Johnny Pascuzzi, and he goes ahead for another first down.
It's a nice job by the left tackle, Derek Graham, collapsing what's in front of him. Takes Andrew Maddox right here and just builds a wall. This is supposed to go right. That's the zone play again, and that's the beauty of the zone play. It can go left, right, or right up the middle. It's really where the hole shows itself and the decision the running back makes. And I think that decision-making by McClure, only a redshirt freshman, has a really, really good feel for this zone scheme in Tulane.
Already 59 yards rushing from McClure as Javen Gordon, the true freshman running back, now comes into the game. And he is tackled for a loss. That was Harris getting into the backfield.
You know, it just feels a little bit like the momentum has shifted. And I know we just blinked and all of a sudden it was 14-0 and this Tulane defense was reeling, but they've got their stuff together here. The last 9 plays, they've only allowed 21 yards, and this offense has had success running the football. They've hit some shots offensively. If they can put something up on the scoreboard again right here, they're going to have a lot more confidence on their sideline.
2nd and 12. Retzloff is trying to find Turner out of the backfield. It's going to be 3rd and long. And you know that pass rush from Pete Golding will be coming after him.
Yeah, and when they get into this kind of situation, it's usually Princewell, Umamli Ellen, it's Suntarian Perkins, it's Will Eccles, and it's Cam Franklin. They put their 4 best pass rushers up on the D-line and let these guys pin their ears back. It's a lot to ask this Tulane offensive line to give Retzloff time here. They've been great all year. They've only allowed 10 sacks on the season, but they're not used to playing defensive lines with this much athleticism.
Third and 12 against the roar of what? Hemingway Stadium. Retzloff trying to extend the play, being chased down and taken down, and that was Prince Will Umamielen.
He has tremendous speed, and he's just getting upfield. He's able to beat the redshirt freshman, Reese Baker, around the hump this way, and if you don't get the ball out right now, he's going to be able to collect himself, retrace, and you're getting into a foot race with a very fast 6'5", 245-pound defensive end.
First team all-conference punter Alec Clark kicking away. And Trey Wallace makes the fair catch inside the 15-yard line. Coming up next, right here on TNT, College Football Playoff first round presented by Allstate. The ultimate underdog, James Madison, taking on Oregon, Jesse.
Excited to see Oregon's offense in this game. One thing, they've been really banged up with wide receiver here in the second half of the season. Decorian Moore's missed the last 4 games. Gary Bryant Jr.'s missed the last 3. Evan Stewart hasn't played all season long, but Dan Lanning was saying they were all at practice earlier this week, so curious to see which guys play, if any of them do, and if they do, how that impacts the offense for Dante Moore.
Bob Chesney's done a great job at James Madison as the head coach. Ole Miss back on offense. Deuce Alexander spinning for extra yardage, and a flag comes down at the end of that play.
I think they might get a face mask here on Isaiah Shine trying to tackle Alexander.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 11. 15-yard penalty with an automatic first down.
Adam Savoie leads this ACC officiating crew.
Well, we saw Deuce Alexander drop a ball moments ago, and here right away, Chambliss goes right back to him, and that's an easy call for the referee to make. They love those hitch throws. They see it as an extension of the run game. If you give cushion outside one-on-one, they're going to take it, and with the speed they have, they can burn you. And the transfer from Wake Forest, Alexander, man, he's got tons of it.
Yeah, he outran 2 defenders against Mississippi State for an 88-yard touchdown. See those quick bursts from him. Here's Lacey trying to get around the corner, and he does with success just beyond midfield before he's run out by Shine.
Yeah, speaking of burst, and that was an interesting choice that time, because a lot of running backs would have just kept that thing going upfield, but he saw green grass, and he was able to bounce it himself. Katie was talking earlier about how strong of a cutter he is, and it's true, but he's got a lot of speed to bounce it outside.
It's a better-looking drive for Ole Miss. Remember, they started the game red hot. First 7 plays had 14 points, 135 yards. Next 9 plays, only 21 yards and no points and 2 punts. Better looking drive here. 2nd and 3. Chambliss is going to take a shot downfield, but he overthrows Trey Wallace.
Well, it was a good job there by Isaiah Shine that time. He had the face mask penalty. He's one-on-one with Wallace, the transfer from Penn State. And this is an area that Tulane got in trouble with in the first game. On passes deep down the field that traveled more than 20 air yards, Trinidad Chambliss was 4 for 5. They were eating Tulane alive on those fade routes, but a good job in coverage that time by the redshirt freshman.
Look at the plays in the opponent's territory. I mean, Tulane's been 17. Just how do you cash in? Meanwhile, Ole Miss has had some of the bigger strikes. Here's 3rd and 3. And a good job on the run fit against Kewan Lacey, so it'll be 4th down.
And I got to imagine, because of how good Ole Miss's defense has been playing so far in this game, that Pete Golden is going to decide to go for this. And 4th downs has always been a really great return on investment for Lane Kiffin. On drives where they convert a 4th down, they've scored 79 points this year. On drives where they failed to make a 4th down conversion, they've only allowed 3 all season long.
Remember, first time Pete Golding's been in this position. First game as a head coach to make these kind of calls. 4th and 3. Chambliss on 4th down. They pick up the A-gap pressure to the outside and gets it complete to Caden Lee, and that is a 1st down for the Rebs.
Well, it was a good play design by Charlie Weiss Jr. there, because they're clearing out the outside with Harrison Wallace, and there's just an open area for Caden Lee to work to. And it's an easy pitch and catch decision for Trinidad Chambliss. Keeps the offense on the field.
So 4th down conversion for Ole Miss. Had Chambliss checking at the line. Start of the year as the backup. Takes over full-time week 3, and it's been a sensation. In-cutting route as he's able to get it complete to Caleb Odom, the sophomore tight end, transfer from Alabama.
Well, we talked about the fourth down conversions this year. When they convert one, they've scored 11 TDs this season. Lane Kiffin oftentimes was very aggressive making those calls. Pete Golding told us, I'm a little bit more of a feel guy. I feel the momentum. I don't necessarily go with the analytics, but obviously a very good decision by him going for it there.
And he said, listen, I know I'm a defensive coach, but my mindset's a little more aggressive, and we saw it there. 2nd and 1. Logan Diggs, the well-traveled player who started at Notre Dame, then LSU, and now he's here at Ole Miss. Katie.
Well, Tess, Golding said he met with Charlie Weiss Jr. this week and said, I know the analytics book says on 4th and 3 we should go, but do we have a 4th and 3 play call that we like? How much faith do we have in the call based on what we've seen? So good feel there. They like put this on.
I guess they like the call that they had, Katie, as they convert. It's a first down here. Chambliss now in a rhythm as Alexander is trying to spin for extra yardage against Joker Johnson.
Well, what Charlie Weiss Jr. is trying to find out is on all these hitch throws outside, if at some point these Tulane corners are going to come up and press to try to take that throw away. When that happens, they're going to start throwing fade routes as there's a player for Tulane, I think.
That's Mekhi Williams, the linebacker for the Green Wave. They're out to see him, and we will take a short break as Ole Miss is on the march. An 8-play drive to this point. 5 minutes till half. Trinidad Chambliss was grossly under-recruited. He landed at Division II Ferris State. He was a multi-time All-America there, wins a national championship. Comes to Ole Miss, he was the backup. Then he's inserted in September, goes 9-1, finishes 8th in the Heisman voting, and now he's waiting to hear, Jesse, about his future. He's seeking an extra year of eligibility. He says, listen, it's been a little stressful to consider, but I can't let that be a distraction. 2nd down and 5. Lacey will take the ball, and he only gains maybe 2 yards that time. Javion White with the tackle. Katie, we were visiting with Chambliss about his future yesterday.
Yeah, Tess, he said that they filed the waiver 3 weeks ago. Ole Miss expects it to take a month before they get an answer. And back in 2022, when he was at Ferris State, he did not play in a single game due to chronic tonsillitis, heart palpitations, and trouble breathing. So he medically redshirted. And guys, after the season he's had, proving he's capable of playing at this level, he wants another year to build on his progress.
Well, we will see where things land as he waits to officially hear. This is Lacey was probing the middle there. A really nice job by the defensive front from Tulane as Santana Hopper makes the play.
I tell you, I've loved watching Santana Hopper on film. He's a bit undersized at 6'2", 265 pounds, but he is so athletic and he is so disruptive. He's able to get a pass rush, but beat linemen one-on-one at the point of attack. He's been a third-team All-American. And really, when you go back and watch the film, the first game against Ole Miss, I'd say that was the only guy for Tulane who was consistently winning one-on-ones.
Lucas Carnero comes on for the 42-yard attempt. Set a great career. This is first year with Ole Miss after coming in from Western Kentucky. And he puts it right through and brings it back to a 14-point margin. Well, the game started right away with Ole Miss, Jesse, saying, give us the ball and we'll show you what we can do.
Shot out of a cannon, no Lane Kiffin, no issues. And on the third play, it's Kejuan Lacey getting it done. Tulane had a couple nice third down conversions. Then on this throw, it's the big interception by Jalen Braxton. And then right away, Ole Miss comes right back down the field. Trinidad Chambliss getting it done in the red zone, calling his own number. After a few drives stalled out, able to put 3 more back up on the board. That's where we stand right now, 17-3.
Remember, the winner here advances to the Sugar Bowl. And that is where third-seeded Georgia awaits in the college football playoff quarterfinals. There's a player down for Tulane, and that's Elijah Champagne, the backup defensive tackle. You know, of course, the big story surrounding this game are juxtaposition of the 2 coaching changes. John Sumrall is heading off to take over Florida. Pete Golding is the new head coach here. at Ole Miss. We were down on the field when Pete Golding first came out during warmups, and everybody turned and said, well, what just happened? That was how big of a crowd reaction of support there was for Golding.
We heard the crowd erupt both times. They showed Pete Golding up on the Jumbotron, and certainly, listen, there are a lot of feelings. The decision by Lane Kiffin to leave and go coach at LSU, that was an emotional one for a lot of these fans, and they have every right to be upset, and they have every right to feel that way, but the reaction, that guy right there, when they put him up on the Jumbotron, this place absolutely blew up. And they are very, very excited about what the future holds with their new head coach.
Now this is interesting. Jake Retzloff, the starting quarterback, is actually on the field for this kickoff return. As it bounces at the 3. Yeah, they give the look of a fake over to Retzloff and then the return by Anthony Brown-Stevens. So they put the starting quarterback on the field to fake as if they're going to throw a lateral to him. And instead, Brown-Stevens has a 31-yard return.
Well, John Summerall said that they were going to be aggressive, not just on offense, but on special teams as well. And by Retzloff running down there inside the 5-yard line, it took about 2 or 3 Ole Miss cover men with them and opened up a little bit of a lane, less defenders for Tulane and Anthony Brown-Stevens to advance the football, and they're able to get it past their own 30-yard line.
So that is where they take over. John Summerall was very honest this week on assessing things and strategy of knowing what they would need to do. Steal some possessions, create some things in special teams, and we'll start off at the 33-yard line here after that return. Here's Retzloff now. Orbit motion, play action. He was looking deep, but nothing was there, so he just tries to work his way back to the line of scrimmage.
It's a massive drive here for Tulane because remember, they're going to get the ball back first in the second half. You hear coaches talk about it all the time. The last 4 minutes of the first half, the first 4 of the second half, they could generate points here going into halftime and score points on their next possession. The first of the second half, all of a sudden, this is an entirely different game. So a lot of pressure here, but a big opportunity for Tulane's offense.
Floor. Just wasn't anything there against the middle of that talented ball. Came out at the end there. Ole Miss falls on it, but they're going to say he was down as the forward progress was stopped.
Now a big opportunity if you're Ole Miss on defense, because if you can find a way to get off the field with 2 timeouts left, you're giving Trinidad Chambliss another opportunity to go and score some points. We've seen a lot of explosive plays out of Ole Miss, both running and throwing the football, so key moment here at the end of the first half.
Listen to this crowd here, just beyond the Grove, here in Oxford, Mississippi, at Vaught Hemingway, finally a college football playoff team. 3rd down and 8. Retzloff, he is sacked. He is brought down by Cam Franklin and Umami Ellen.
Cam Franklin collapsed the pocket on one side, and Umami Ellen beats a double team on the other. And with just 3 rushers, they're able to get to Retzloff. Cam Franklin's coming this way. Umami Ellen's going to beat the tight end and loop inside. They drop 8 into coverage, so nowhere to go with the football if you're Retzloff. And that dominant D-line able to create a big negative play, now setting up 4th down.
2-minute timeout. Ole Miss will be getting the ball back. Health outfit, it's another thing to pretty much look like Will Ferrell.
That's
Jesse.
a look-alike winner right there.
Trey Wallace calls for the fair catch. Ole Miss will have the ball up 14. Under 2 minutes till halftime. Kevin.
That's Mercedes-Benz halftime report. Minutes away. Booger McFarland, Kevin Nagandi here. We'll take a look back at Miami's win over Texas A&M. Preview Oregon versus James Madison. 17-3. You think it's about the offense? It's Ole Miss's defense standing out.
Yeah, no doubt. And Ole Miss has an advantage at the key positions. Left tackle, edge rusher, corner, wide receiver. You can see those advantages showing themselves.
That's we'll see you at the half. Back to you guys.
Kevin and Boog. James Madison, Oregon still to come. James Madison, the 12 seed, 12-1 this season. They were 8-0 in the Sun Belt. But what a task to play at Oregon. You never know. We will see. That's coming up right here on TNT. How does Ole Miss manage things here with 1:53 remaining until halftime? Chambliss will check down to Lacey. And Lacey as he makes the most of it.
This is a
Two
tough
timeouts remaining, Jesse.
It's a tough predicament if you're Tulane and you see Lacey stays down on the ground. A lot of fans here at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium holding their breath. Looks like he's reaching for his left shoulder.
Second team All-America. Doak Walker Award finalists. Set the record for rushing touchdowns in Ole Miss history this season.
So it was Sam Howard coming in and making a tackle and just kind of got his left arm extended before he fell on top of it. Easily in a lot of pain here as he makes his way over to the sideline. And we've talked and reported on the impact he's had on this offense all season long. So much is talked about this passing attack in Lane Kiffin and Trinidad Chambliss, but really in many ways it's Kewan Lacey that makes everything go. And so interesting to see what the impact of this is. Certainly hope he's okay.
There's Logan Diggs, who comes in at running back. Remember back in 2022, he was a star at Notre Dame, had a team high in rushing attempts, had 821 yards, went to LSU. Now the backup here. Chambliss gets it into space to Stribling, and Stribling turns the corner and then lowers the shoulders for a first down.
And that's what Tulane doesn't want to do. They don't want to play one-on-one on the perimeter. When they have, that's when Chambliss has been taking advantage with these hitch throws. You know, in the situation, Tulane wants to try and keep two safeties back as much as they can.
A 15-yard reception by Stribling, running over to Spaney. Chambliss. Minute to play until halftime. Logan Diggs spins ahead for a first down.
When they've got two safeties back on the back end, they take away those easy throws outside, and it's been forcing Chambliss to have to check it down to his running backs on this drive.
Remember, 2 timeouts to work with for Trinidad Chambliss and Ole Miss. Chambliss. He scrambles ahead. This is where he's so dangerous, and that will move the chains again. It was Rogers who gets him.
Looks like Chambliss slow getting up as well. Kind of grabbed his helmet really quickly right at the end of that play. So 2 key players for Ole Miss's offense here on this drive. Slow to get up as you see a Tulane defender.
That's Chris Rogers
down as well.
Chris Rogers, who had the pressure in the sack earlier, and here's what happened at the end of this play as Rogers came in on Trinidad Chambliss. So Chambliss down, and the medical team out to see him as Kewan Lacey, the star running back, is in the medical tent.
And also Chris Rogers is a big key player for Tulane's defense. He leads them in tackles this season. So we've seen a lot of key guys going down here at the end of the first half.
And Chris Rogers for Tulane, he had a pick-6 touchdown return in the American Championship game in that victory against North Texas. He's a big part of what they do defensively.
Looking down the sidelines now, Austin Simmons, the backup quarterback for Ole Miss. He was a starter at the start of the year. Hurt his left ankle against Kentucky. He's now down warming up for Ole Miss's offense.
He was Jackson Dart's backup last season and then won the starting job. A nice hand for Trinidad Chambliss. That's a good sign to see him up on his feet, making his way over to the Ole Miss sideline. Austin Simmons will come into the game here.
So it's an Ole Miss offense now without the starting quarterback and without their starting running back. How aggressive is play caller Charlie Weiss Jr. willing to be in this situation at the end of the half?
Simmons was the starter coming into the season. And injured that ankle, you mentioned it, back on September 6th at Kentucky. And all Trinidad Chambliss did was go on to be a Heisman top 8 finisher. Simmons comes into the game and throws a pass and complete to Alexander on his first play of the college football playoff.
Well, there's your answer. They go out right away and they roll out, and a nice job of Deuce Alexander getting low to the ground, making a very difficult catch. Under 2 minutes, the game clock stops as they reset the chains.
Simmons, empty look here as he gets it complete again, and it's right, the big tight end, and it's another first down for Ole Miss. So Austin Simmons comes right into the game, and it's 2 for 2.
Well, you're hearing people boo here because there's another Tulane defender down with Ole Miss on the move. It looks like Sam Howard, the other starting linebacker for Tulane. We saw Chris Rogers go down earlier. Now number 15 down for Tulane.
Sam Howard broke his fibula, had a crack in the fibula, missed a couple games, and returned to play this season. So he's pain-free this week.
Redefining what toughness means in pain tolerance is incredible. Breaking your fibula against East Carolina, and then literally 2 games later against Memphis, getting back on the field. A little friendly fire that time coming up. It was Jaheim Johnson at corner who hit him. There's just people are dropping like flies here on this drive.
Howard, the captain from Birmingham, Alabama, 9 screws and a plate. He said countless hours of morning, pre and post game rehab. He said it took a lot, but he is pain free. He is a standard setter for this program. You see all the teammates come out to support Sam Howard. This is a guy as a captain who sets the standard. He's the type of player that cleans the locker room after practice. He actually cleans the plane, Joe, after road trips.
Yeah, Quentin, you know it. He is the heart and soul of what they do defensively. So 26 seconds remaining. Austin Simmons in for Trinidad Chambliss, who left the game injured moments ago. Logan Diggs in at running back. Simmons again to pass. Pocket, the ball is out. The ball is out on the strip sack of Austin Simmons. Tulane says they have it. Harvey Dyson does.
Remember, Joe, Kewan Lacey not in the game, and it's Logan Diggs, his backup at running back, who has to pick up Harvey Dyson.
And then Nairn falls on the ball.
Coming off the edge here. Here's the pressure. This is the blitz pickup miss by Logan Diggs. And Dyson, the transfer from Texas Tech, able to get in at the quarterback, knock it free. And that is a giant turnover for Tulane. Looks like big Trayvon McAlpine, his former Texas Tech teammate, able to jump on this football. And that is a play that Tulane absolutely needed to happen.
So the 8th sack of the season for Dyson. Elite Nairn, the fumble recovery, and they had to have that as Ole Miss. You see Kewan Lacey's getting a head start to the locker room. Ole Miss was marching right down the field, even with the injuries, trying to add to their 2-touchdown lead. Well, a big moment defensively for Tulane as McClure takes it. Harvey Dyson, who arrived from Texas Tech. Of course, all the defensive linemen that Texas Tech had come to the Red Raiders. And Dyson says, I want to be a star with the Green Wave, and he has, and he came up huge there with the strip sack.
I got to be impressed with John Sumrall's defense here and how they've been able to respond after going down 14-0 right away in this football game. They've been able to settle down, whether it was forcing 3 and outs or getting a massive turnover there at the end of the first half. Their backs against the wall just to preserve a 2-touchdown deficit is absolutely huge for Tulane.
How about that last drive with the big injuries?
On both sides. Yeah, I mean, we saw Lacey go down, we saw Chambliss go down for Ole Miss, and then it was linebackers Rogers and Howard. This is the first one here. Tackle by Howard, and it's Lacey.
Kewan Lacey with 67 yards on a touchdown, and then, of course, Trinidad Chambliss, the star quarterback.
Clutching his head, and so you were wondering if Ole Miss was going to stay aggressive, and with Austin Simmons, they did. There's Sam Howard, the linebacker, going down.
Now off the timeout, and they try to get it to the outside, and it is complete that time to Shaz Preston. 5 seconds remaining in this first half.
They're just trying to get an opportunity for their kicker, Patrick Durkin, the American Conference Special Teams Player of the Year, was hit from 52 this year against Temple, but
he's 4 or 6 from 50 plus, but they got to get in range with only 5 seconds remaining. What a big play defensively by Tulane by Harvey Dyson before halftime here. Quick to the outside again to press. Remember, he had that 57-yard reception earlier in this half.
Well, we showed you earlier in the game the arm talent that Jake Retzloff has. He can throw it 53, 55 yards on the run. If he gets a chance to step into one from this distance, he can easily reach the end zone on a Hail Mary. So interesting to see what Tulane and head coach John Sumrall are going to do here.
See Ole Miss sending everybody back defensively. And a timeout will be used by Tulane. There is Chambliss. Good sign to see him over on the bench. Incredible stories everywhere you look for Chambliss. I mean, a guy who comes in here from Ferris State. And all of a sudden, here he is, number 8 in the Heisman, a record-setting year. He's got Ole Miss believing that they can contend for a national championship, and with good reason.
It's an amazing story. To think you lose Jackson Dart to the first round last year. Austin Simmons takes over as your starting quarterback. He goes down in Kentucky, and all Trinidad Chambliss did was seize the job and make history. First player in the history of the SEC to throw for over 300 yards and run for 50 in his first 3 starts. He seized the job. He never looked back. But I think a big question mark now, as we look ahead into the second half, is Chambliss able to come back? Is Lacey able to come back? And if not, how does it affect Ole Miss's offense?
Remember, Tulane's going to receive the ball in the second half. Braxton, Ryan, and Banks, the defensive backs for Ole Miss, are literally with their heels on the goal line as they're going to go underneath. They were looking for the razzle-dazzle, but that's going to get us to halftime on this picturesque day here in Oxford, Mississippi, not far from the Grove. You can almost smell John Currance's gumbo from here. 17-3 Ole Miss after that red-hot start. As you see the navy and red stripes of Vaught Hemingway. Quint.
Coach, how did you bounce back after falling behind 14-0?
We just caught up to the speed of the game. They're a fast team. We looked really slow early. We caught up a little bit.
You did. Swing things over to Katie George, who's with Pete Golding.
Thanks, Quint. Pete, 2 of your star players get injured and then you fumble. How would you describe the last few minutes of this half?
Obviously not ideal, but we got to battle back. You know, next guy up. We talked about this. We're going to count on a lot of guys that hadn't had the opportunity yet. That's why you prepare, and they got to be ready to go.
Did you get an update yet on Lacey or Chambliss?
I have not. We'll do that at halftime.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
His first game as a head coach, and he's going to need that update on his star quarterback who looks fine over on the sideline, but we'll get a report. And then Kewan Lacey, the second-team All-American running back. It's 17-3 to see who advances to the Sugar Bowl. Mercedes-Benz halftime report is coming your way. College football playoff first round is presented by Allstate. 6-seeded Ole Miss with a 17-3 lead on the 11th seed Tulane, the American Conference champion. Joe and Jesse with you here on a magnificent day in Oxford, Mississippi. Trinidad Chambliss, he's out there throwing, left the game just before halftime. Looks like he's good to go here for Ole Miss. He was very good on the field prior to the injury. 13-16, 167 yards. They only had 1 penalty there in a 2-touchdown lead.
No, he got off to a really fast start. They were aggressive right out of the gate. And in Capital One rewarding performance, you see Trinidad Chambliss here. This is the second play of the game. Little play fake. You got Daquan Wright at tight end, able to cross the linebackers. And it ends up being an explosive play. A little more razzle-dazzle on a fake sweep to a receiver. Gets one linebacker going one way. You move the pocket. He's so accurate throwing on the run. This one to Deuce Alexander. And you saw his ability to avoid negative plays. Hopper coming off the edge. A free rusher on 3rd down. He's able to avoid him and then find the completion to move the sticks. Of course, this was the big moment there at the end of the first half. On a scramble, running out. Looks like he bangs his head against the turf. He had to leave the game at the end of the first half. And so I know a lot of Ole Miss fans right now wondering the status of Trinidad Chambliss here for the second half.
By the way, what a glorious scene. These home games in the first round. And you see the striped stadium here just off the side of the Grove. As Tulane's going to get the ball to start this second half, trailing by 2 scores. Our first half stats are brought to you by Lilly.
Well, and I think one thing Tulane, after weathering the storm, being down 14-0, defensively started playing a lot better there at the end of that first half. But offensively, they've done a really good job running the ball. They're actually out rushing Ole Miss at this point with 81 rushing yards. I think that's something, still only down 14 points with lots of football to go. You want to continue doing that and keep giving Jamari McClure the football.
Or right behind that man, Jake Retzloff. Transfer from BYU. Led this team to 11 wins. Retzloff, downfield strike, and that is how they start the second half, right into the hands of Anthony Brown-Stevens.
And that is a fantastic throw by Retzloff there, rolling to his right. You got Brown-Stevens running this corner route, really good route, keeps the separation. We've seen some more outstanding route running on the perimeter, and I think these receivers have done a much better job than they did earlier in September when these 2 teams played at creating that separation and giving Retzloff a place to go with the ball.
21-yard reception to open up the second half. McClure now on the ground. And he got really low, and in doing so was able to cross midfield.
Well, very patient too, and that's another example of the zone scheme, just letting the hole identify itself and running with really good pad level, parallel to the ground, and falling forward. This is a young running back, only a redshirt freshman, Joe, that I think has a really, really bright future.
Yeah, ball security was an issue for him last year, at the beginning of this year, but he's come on strong as the season has gone along. Second and 3. Here's the quick game. Brown-Stevens able to make the first man miss and then take a surge for that line to gain. And with that, that should be a first down for the Green Wave.
Well, running the football and then quick shots to the perimeter as an extension of that. You're spitting this outside. You got Chaz Preston, downfield number 7 there, trying to get a block. You got offensive lineman and Reese Baker downfield as well, and a nice individual effort and great quickness by the Kentucky transfer, Brown-Stevens.
5 receptions on the day, on all 5 targets to him. Got it out in front to Amari Hayes, but it's incomplete.
We were talking earlier in this game, Joe, what's the simplest way? What's the formula for Tulane to make this game not look like the first one where they lost 45-10? It's running the football. It's staying on the field. It's probably going for it on a few 4th downs, and defensively getting takeaways and stealing possessions. They stole one at the end of the first half. They are still very much in this game. Right now in Ole Miss territory, this is a big drive.
And trying to get the ball to the perimeter the last couple of plays. Second down and 10. That was incomplete. Braxton was there defensively against Lewis.
I'm going to tell you, if there was an MVP candidate in this game so far, I think it's Jalen Braxton. He had the interception early for Ole Miss. He had a big stop on a slant throw on 3rd down at the end of the first half, and here doing a nice job in his back pedal, transitioning against a curl route to Zycar Lewis and getting another PBU. He has had a monster performance for a secondary that's been a little bit up and down this year for Ole Miss.
High above Vaught Hemingway. Down below is the roar of a crowd for 3rd and 10 defensively. Oh, that was dangerous as Cam Franklin was sitting there waiting for that football.
Well, Cam Franklin starts his pass rush, and when he sees he's not going to be able to get there, he just starts reading Jake Retzlaff's eyes. Is able to get upon that one. This is one issue Retzlaff has had this season. He forces the football into coverage at times. And coming into this one, he had only thrown 6 interceptions. He's lucky. He's had about 4, 5, or 6 picks dropped by defenses. Lucky that time. Cam Franklin didn't come away with that one.
Alec Clark punting away. Oh, it took a bounce at the 1-yard line and then went into the end zone for a touchback. So John Summerall's offense out there on the field couldn't get it done. And now Trinidad Chambliss ready to re-enter the game.
Good news for Ole Miss here in Oxford. Trinidad Chambliss was checked for concussion during halftime after he hit his head. He's been returned to play. He's been able to return and play in this game. And then for Kewan Lacey, they offered him a harness for his left shoulder. He turned it down. He said he's good to go. Both guys back in, guys.
Okay, appreciate the effort there, Katie, to get the updates on both Chambliss and Lacey. The 2 stars of this sensational offense for Ole Miss. There's over 350 yards in every game this year. Only 4 teams in FBS can say that. Chambliss quickly gets it to Wright. What a weapon he is. Daquan Wright at 6'4", 255 in that athleticism.
And these play actions have really helped free him up too. Just freezing linebackers and allowing Wright, with all that size, to be able to run across the linebackers and make big plays out on the perimeter.
Quick strike and just connecting with Trey Wallace as he burst ahead past midfield. Another first down.
Well, there was a lot of big plays early in this game. In fact, their first 5 plays all went for over 20 yards. They haven't had one since, so they're trying to get that explosive playmaking back now and being very aggressive here to start the second half. A couple throws from Chambliss.
Had 16-yard reception moments ago. Stribling. Look at the balance as he tiptoes down the sideline before Chinchu knocks him out of bounds.
It's amazing. Every time they throw a hitch route outside, Tulane hasn't been able to make a clean tackle. This time it's Shine at corner just trying to push him, but Stribling is a very strong runner at 6'2", 210 pounds.
Had a couple touchdown catches in the Egg Bowl back on November 29th. A win against Mississippi State. First time Lacey is back to action, and he looks good. Quick.
John Summerall's primary concern coming out of the locker room at halftime was tackling on defense. The perimeter tackling in space has been basically questionable the entire game. It's an issue that he says his guys just lack the size of these Ole Miss receivers.
See Keywan Lacey dragging defenders. Quint ahead for another first down. That was Shine who went for a ride.
And Quint, there is some good news for Tulane's defense because at linebacker, Chris Rogers and Sam Howard both got hurt at the end of the first half. They're both back on the field for Tulane's defense. So a lot of leadership, and those guys pretty short tacklers.
Chris Rogers there, first down. Lacey trying to bounce it, gives a stiff arm, but is tripped up that time by Kevin Adams.
This is kind of that red zone area where oftentimes Trinidad Chambliss' legs become a factor. So dangerous when he decides to tuck it and run. His first 5 yards are just so explosive with quickness. And right now in an empty set trying to spread Tulane out, you wonder if there's a crease or Chambliss sees something, he takes off.
Instead, he quickly gets it to Stribling, who goes into the end zone for a touchdown.
And this is a great decision this time by Chambliss because you got the linebacker blitzing hot, Sam Howard, and that's the answer against the pressure. It's coming right here. It's going to be Stribling on the out route. Chambliss and his wideout on the same page. He's working against the safety, and Despaney is able to split 3 defenders and get into the end zone.
Ole Miss with Trinidad Chambliss and Keywan Lacey back in the game, and then it's Dejon Stribling. And all that skill and speed, and a 24-3 lead. Of Oxford, where aerial coverage is brought to you by Goodyear. Legends aren't born, they are proven. This is a record crowd here at Vaught Hemingway Stadium. College football playoff first round right here on TNT. 68,251. Of course, many of these faithful know what has happened in recent years. All the wins, yet no college football playoff appearances. 3 straight 10-win seasons. No other team that hasn't made the college football playoff could say that. And then this year, the 11 wins. Just that heartbreaking fourth quarter loss at Georgia. Lane Kiffin, of course, leaves to LSU. And you framed it earlier, no Lane against Tulane. Pete Golding leading the way. This team looks good.
And there was a big distraction, obviously, these last several weeks without Lane Kiffin moving to LSU. And I think you wondered how that was going to affect this football team. I think the best thing Pete Golding did is he just kept everything the same. The same practice routine, it's the same people calling plays, it's the same schemes. As we know, for players, oftentimes they're just creatures of habit. Right. It was a massive distraction. The best way to fight that is just get back on the field playing football. And you got Golden calling the defense, Charlie Weiss Jr. is calling the offense. They're doing everything the same way they used to. And so far, the product on the field looks the same.
And I'll say this, the venom and emotion of the fans and many of the locals and those who have been around the program over what happened to Lane Kiffin, that is not the tone that you had inside the building with the players and coaches. They were hyper locked in on simply readying themselves for the college football playoff.
And you got to give this coaching staff obviously a ton of credit as well, but there's a lot of leadership in that locker room helping these guys get dialed in on what's important, and that's making a run for a national championship.
Here's McClure with the carry. as he works his way to the 29-yard line.
Really impressed with Ole Miss's defense in this game, and they're really a bend, don't break defense. They don't blitz a ton. They've got mostly 7 guys in coverage and zone with their eye on the ball. And they don't give up a lot of explosives, only averaging 6 explosive plays a game. So they're trying to get you to go 8, 10, 12 plays to score points. And right now they've only allowed 3 to Tulane.
McClure on 2nd and 6, and that is a tackle for a loss. As Centarian Perkins, that's 7.5 TFLs now on the year for him.
I'll tell you, I've been impressed with the D-line all season long. They lost a lot of talent to the NFL with Walter Nolan going in the 1st round and Princely Amondiellan in the 3rd round. And really, it's been a lot of guys that they recruited out of high school that have stepped up this year. Centarian Perkins is one. Will Eccles is having a massive game. We've seen Cam Franklin make big plays too. Young guys that have developed in the scheme, waited their turn, making big plays all year.
Listen to this crowd after their 5th TFL of the day. 3rd down and 7. Retzloff being chased as he drives the ball to Amari Hayes, who comes up with the catch. Great effort from Hayes.
Yeah, it was Uman Mielen coming off the edge that forced Retzloff to step up. He's got to outrun Eccles to give himself an opportunity to make this throw. And Hayes, who's dropped a few early in this game, makes a really tough catch to keep the chains moving, but it looks like they may take a look.
The ruling on the field of a catch is under further review.
Remember, that was a 3rd down and 7. Amari Hayes, did he get his hands under this ball and secured, or did it hit the turf here? Remember, they ruled it a catch.
It was a nice job by Retzloff keeping this away from Sage Ryan and low. Amari Hayes, who's 5'9", does a good job getting down. Seemed as though he got his arms underneath this. At any point there, it doesn't look like the ball hits the ground. It looks like he's got his arms under it. To me, Joe, that looks like a catch. And the ball's allowed to hit the ground so long as you have complete and firm control of it through that process.
A really good job by Hayes to get those hands underneath the football. Let's bring in our rules expert, Matt Austin.
After further review, the ruling on the field is upheld.
Or, Matt, we don't need you. We'll just hear that.
You know, those are the types of plays now Tulane is going to have to make if they're going to get back in this game. We saw a big drop earlier in the game on 4th down. But at this juncture now, down 21, you've got to make all the plays like that to keep these drives alive and give yourself an opportunity. So a nice effort that time by Amari Hayes.
So the 10-yard reception stands. 1st down for the Green Wave. Retzloff as they drop 8 into coverage, and it's incomplete. As trying to get his hand on it was Justin Reed.
Just as I was saying, you got to make those types of catches. That's one Justin Reed has got to be able to make. And there's a lot of traffic over the middle of the field, obviously. The Southern Miss tight end is a big body. He's running right into the linebacker, Taj Chambers, but this is a catch that Reed should make.
Retzloff, as he goes to that next level to Shackelford, who makes the reception.
Yeah, these windows are not very big for him to run to on this drive, especially. It's been that way all game. But Kapena Gushikin is in coverage here, and he's all over that. There's really only one place that ball can go, and nice job getting down to make the catch right in front of the 1st down marker. Nice concentration. Now sets up 3rd and short. And normally in these situations, this is QB sneak territory. For Retzloff, they have a QB sneak, and then they have a QB lead sneak where he runs behind Javen Gordon at running back.
Yeah, or they do the tush push as they're trying to do here with McClure behind Retzloff on what was 3rd and 1, and they're going to mark him right at the line of scrimmage. You'll see that often with Retzloff. Sometimes they motion in the tight end to give him that extra nudge ahead. This time it was McClure, the running back, behind him.
This is a big D-line. They average 6'5", 287 across the board. They're not used to playing this much size up front, and Question is, where's the ball? It doesn't look to me like it ever got close to that first down marker. So now it's 4th, and obviously Tulane has got to go for this.
And that is the case here. They're 0 for 1 on 4th down today. This is from their own 47-yard line. 4th down and 1. Largest crowd ever at Vaught Hemingway, roaring for a defensive stop. That's not even close, Jesse. Not even close. Second effort. Are they going to give it to him? Or are they going to say forward progress? He was stood up for a while, and you see them marking him short of that line to gain the unofficial yellow line.
Well, he was stood up because Will Eccles, Jamarius Brown, and Xavier Harris, all three of those guys right at the point, the tip of the spear for Ole Miss's defense there, and they just weren't going anywhere. Looked to me like they just stoned back-to-back QB sneak tries, and no, that's a turnover on down.
It is.
Blanchard defense comes up big.
Will Eccles, Jan Brown, and the rest of that Rebels front does their job. A turnover on downs, a 4th down stop here in the 3rd quarter, up by 21 points trying to get to the Sugar Bowl. Now coming up tonight, it'll be the last of these first-round playoff games, and there is Dan Lanning, Jesse, arriving as the 11-1 Oregon Ducks, the 5 seed, will be hosting James Madison at 7:30 right here on TNT.
Very dangerous team that I think has the juice to win it all. Obviously, phenomenal play at the quarterback spot with Dante Moore. Their defense easily one of the best in the nation.
After the turnover on downs, Ole Miss back out on the field offensively with a 3-touchdown lead. Chambliss, as that is incomplete, as he was unable to connect with Trey Wallace. Joker Johnson was there with coverage.
Well, they've been giving up the hitch throws, but when Ole Miss is trying to throw the football vertically down the field on the outside, the coverage here has been pretty good. And Jaheim Johnson, first team All-American Conference selection, 4 picks on the year. Good job there.
Here is Alexander, and Deuce Alexander is shoved out of bounds that time by Isaiah Wadsworth.
Well, the 3rd downs all season long for Ole Miss, they only average 6 yards to go. That's 10th best in the country, and it's because of really good play calls like that. We've seen that all game long. If there's access outside, they take the hitch throw. That's a give me 5 yards. And it makes this situation just so much more manageable now for Trinidad Chambliss.
Down at 5, the star quarterback who left the game just before halftime was cleared to come back for the second half. But Ole Miss on a touchdown drive on their first possession of this 3rd quarter. 3rd down and 5. Chambliss, and that's incomplete. It was thrown slightly to the outside of Alexander, and a flag comes in.
Pass interference, defense, number 8. Ball be placed in the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
They just have not had an answer for these hitch throws outside. That time, Isaiah Wadsworth, the transfer from Wofford, just getting too much jersey on Deuce Alexander. I don't know. At some point, if you're Tulane and D coordinator Greg Gasparotto, do you feel confident enough pressing those corners against all that speed and athleticism outside?
That was batted down. There's Cam Hamilton, a 6'4" defensive end, right in the face of Trinidad Chambliss after the pass interference of Wadsworth getting too much jersey.
Well, it's a good job that time of Hamilton, and he's a big defensive end at 292 pounds. He knows he's not going to get home, so he's just watching Chambliss and gets the big paws up.
By the way, I'll add the too much jersey of the traditional navy and red, the same combination they wore when they beat Tulane back in September. I like the traditional look, getting away from the powder blue of the recent era. Chambliss, incomplete. That was thrown high, looking for Watkins.
Well, that was thrown high. That was also thrown into triple coverage, and he's only thrown 3 interceptions on the year because he avoids bad decisions like that. This is a Tulane defense that's picked off 15 passes this year. That leads the American Conference, and Chambliss lucky that wasn't number 16. see they do this a lot. They get to the line early, and then they look over in the sidelines, and they can change the play. They can change the formation and get in the best look. Tons of time.
3rd down and 10. Chambliss to Wallace, but he is wrapped up immediately. Joker Johnson and White combining on the tackle.
So they always go fast. They get set up at the line of scrimmage. Chambliss looks over to the sideline. You got the tight end, the running back, receivers all looking as well. They're able to move things around based on the picture the defense is giving them. Then get in position to run a play. For the first time, they were able to make a tackle on the perimeter on those hitch throws.
Lucas Carnero on to attempt the field goal. He hit from 42 earlier, this from 48. It's been excellent this year. 23 of 26. Great lift, rotation, and through. Ole Miss adds to the lead. 27-3. As you're watching the college football playoff first round presented by Allstate.
Want to talk football with a friend? Just tell Siri. Call Jesse on speakerphone.
Oh, I got issues with the spelling of Jesse right there.
It is my all-time pet peeve.
Oh boy.
There's a certain coffee place that started in Seattle. When I get my coffees from there, there have been double E-E-Y, double I-I-Y.
Come on now.
It makes no sense.
There's only one way to spell Jesse. Everybody knows that. Hey, listen to this. South Florida guys here. We could do this. NHL Winter Classic. It's in Miami. Rangers, Panthers, January 2nd. 7 p.m. on TNT, True TV, HBO Max. Crush some stone crabs.
Bring your floaty flamingo? Yeah, I'm in.
And of course, college basketball's biggest stage returns this spring. The men's Final Four on TBS, April 4th and 6th. Catch the entire NCAA March Madness men's tournament, 17th through April 6th on TBS, CBS, TNT, and True TV. We are turning the corner for a special 2026 of sports. Gordon tries to muscle his way ahead. Well, Tulane's had an outstanding season, winning the American, and then they had Ole Miss back in September. They have Ole Miss today, and you see the comparison.
Yeah, listen, and listen, they beat Duke, who obviously ended up winning the ACC. They've beaten 2 Power 4 teams this year, the only Group of 5 team to do that, but it's been a little bit of a different story, facing the talent and also facing the depth of Ole Miss.
They haven't beaten a ranked SEC team since 1984. It's a long stretch for the Green Wave. Retzloff able to connect here with Mamahat. Garrett Mamahat takes it ahead for a good gain, forced out by Gushikin.
And that was a coverage bust that time by Ole Miss on the back end. They had 2 defenders running with an in-breaking route from Anthony Brown-Stevens, and that allowed Mamahat on the out-breaking route to gain extra yards. Coverage busts were a problem for Ole Miss in their loss against Georgia, and something they've done a pretty good job cleaning up.
Retzloff's going to take a shot downfield and wide open, but overthrows the intended target of Anthony Brown-Stevens.
Well, I think that's 2 coverage busts in a row by Ole Miss here in the back end. You got a play fake, and there's a little bit of a double move, and everybody's got their eyes back in the backfield. TJ Banks, number 7, just peeking, and that's a throw that Retzloff wishes he had back. A little bit of undisciplined play here in the secondary for Ole Miss these last 2 snaps.
Trick play, and Retzloff's going to keep it. Now the ball comes out, and it's going to be a turnover right into the hands of Ole Miss.
It was Suntarian Perkins and TJ Daugherty that got in on the tackle.
And Gushikin able to come away with the ball.
How about that? It's a little meeting in the backfield between these 3. Who has the ball? It ends up being the quarterback who just runs it upfield.
Rolling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense. Holding offense number 56. Penalty is declined. First down, Ole Miss.
I think one of the biggest issues Ole Miss has had all season was they weren't able to get enough takeaways, but good job there by Perkins getting his helmet right on the football. Retzloff pops it up right into the hands of Gushikin for a defense that only had 10 takeaways. That was tied for 113th this season. They've been able to take it away in this one.
Pete Golding, of course, the new head coach, but also calling and managing the defense. And the turnover gives the ball back to the Rebels. The 24-point lead. Chambliss, good ball and a good connection as he has Deuce Alexander.
It's amazing, Joe. There really isn't a go-to guy necessarily in the passing attack for Ole Miss. They've got a lot of dudes that can win one-on-one outside, whether it's Stribling or Wallace or Alexander, Caden Lee, Daquan Wright. Makes it so hard as a defense to know who to double.
As you said, to pick your poison with them. How do you defend them? What do you come up with for a defense in a spot like this? Caleb Odom.
I think a good thing, too, is that normally Trinidad Chambliss doesn't predetermine where he's going to throw the football based on the pre-snap look. He does a very good job of just letting coverage dictate who's going to get the football. And they've got 5 different guys with over 400 receiving yards, one of 3 offenses in the country.
You know, I think Katie turned to him the other day and said, how have you improved? He says, my football IQ has grown so much this past year, and really credits the offensive coaches. Feels like his understanding of game management also has gone up. And you see the fight from Lacey on 2nd down and 4. TJ Smith with the tackle.
He's such a strong runner. We talk about leading the nation in forced missed tackles, but he's a guy that just plays with really good pad level. He's kind of a tall, lean, lengthy running back, but runs really, really hard.
Here's the direct snap to Lacey as he will have the first down for the Rebels.
And that's a good example of what Katie was talking about earlier, a vertical cut. Oftentimes when running backs cut, you see him grabbing that left shoulder that he hurt earlier in the game. When they cut normally, they cut east-west. Watch when he puts his foot in the ground right here, he's going upfield. And all that momentum's driving forward. Obviously, 3 defenders land on top of him. Certainly hope he's okay.
Logan Diggs re-enters the game. As you saw Lacey favoring that shoulder after that play. Chambliss on first down, checks down to Diggs. Nice spin move by Logan Diggs. All the way down to the 12-yard line.
Well, it's good to see Logan Diggs making a big play like that. Missed all of last year with an ACL injury that he suffered in the bowl game for LSU at the end of the 2023 season. One-on-one, he's working that time against Kevin Adams. Gives him the little circle button. And Lacey comes out, and they get another big play from their backup running back. Man.
There's a Tulane defensive player who's down, and that's Jack Chinchu, who was the most outstanding player of the American Championship, the win against North Texas. Had an interception on a tip pass in the first half, had a forced fumble, recovered a muff punt. Starting safety is down, and the medical team is out to tend to him.
And I can't remember a game where so many key players from each team been going down and dropping like flies.
There's
See
Caleb
over there,
Odom.
that's Caleb Odom. Tight end, he's right now wincing in pain as well. And here's Lacey getting up a couple plays ago, grabbing that left shoulder. Katie reported earlier they offered him a harness to wear here in the second half to help with that. He decided not to. Now, one of the best players on Tulane's defense, Chenchu, a first-team All-American Conference player, down on the ground.
Well, tough day for the Tulane defense, of course, against this talented Ole Miss offense. The transition, of course, with the coaching staff and Pete Golding, the defensive guy, and you retain the players on defense. We'll see what this roster looks like as they move forward. Of course, so much business still to be done, but it'd be interesting moving forward to see what this Ole Miss offense looks like under Pete Golding. He's bringing in John David Baker as the next offensive coordinator, who was part of this program in recent years.
I think there's a lot of pressure on him to make sure he gets this hire right. And you're trying to replace the mind of Lane Kiffin. John David Baker has had tremendous success this season at East Carolina, in control of one of the most explosive offenses in the country. They were top 15, and he's a guy you mentioned, Joe. He'd been here in this offense for 3 years under Lane Kiffin, knows the system. He's going to run the same system next year with some tweaks. But one thing I know about fan bases, when they're used to scoring points, they never want to stop.
Right.
And they obviously have a standard here after Lane Kiffin. They're going to want to continue that. Yes, of course, it's always about winning games, but you want to do it a certain way. And I just think back to my time at Florida, when Steve Spurrier moved on and Urban Meyer moved on, and the next coaching staff couldn't be as explosive on offense, a lot of fans got really upset.
Here's Chambliss on the quarterback run, gets a stiff arm and then bounces ahead to the outside for a couple of yards. Gave that stiff arm to Joshua Moore.
Well, it's just amazing. I think one of the best things Chambliss does, Joe, is he avoids negative plays. We get enamored with the arm and the speed, but he easily could have been tackled in the backfield there. He's only been sacked 12 times this season. We mentioned earlier he's only thrown 3 picks on the year, too. He's able to keep the offense on schedule, and he never does the things that loses you games.
Final minute of this third quarter. Chambliss. And it's going to be first and goal after the reception by Caden Lee.
It's hitch routes outside, and it's the slot routes running these quick sticks and finding the soft spots in zone coverage. That's where they've been attacking in the quick passing game, and it has paid major dividends. This Ole Miss offense, as you see in Kejuan Lacey, in obvious pain, leaving the field.
Final seconds here of the third quarter as Ole Miss going to be thinking about a trip down to New Orleans in 15 minutes. What a scene it is here in Oxford today. The college football playoff here in this picturesque town. And it's been all Rebels. Fourth quarter when we return right here on TNT.
We're on the sidelines with Pete Golden. Pete, you're a quarter away from advancing to the Sugar Bowl. What are you pleased most with in your team's play right now?
Just the way they responded out of halftime. You know, we didn't play our best football in the first half. Came out, did better on base downs, as we talked about, getting ahead of the sticks on offense and putting them behind the sticks, and created some turnovers on defense. Not based on execution, but effort. But still got some clean football to play.
Thanks, Pete.
Appreciate it.
His first game as a head coach, and the atmosphere just before this fourth quarter, indescribable, with a record crowd of 68,251. The fireworks, the drone show, the laser light show, and now this offense looking to add to the scoreboard. Logan Diggs trying to power ahead, and he does. Set him off, light it up. It's party time at the Grove.
Really nice job. P.J. Wilkins here in the game at left guard, getting a block. The tight end's coming around as well. It's a direct snap to Diggs. Nice job being patient, letting the block set themselves up, and a big, strong runner at 6 feet, 220 pounds, dropping those pads, driving the legs, and hitting pay dirt.
Arnero adds the extra point. They've waited a long time to be a playoff team with all the success they've had, and they're enjoying every moment of it. There are the drones, Jesse.
You saw a lot of different stuff. You and I were in here. We had our phones out trying to record everything. There was a Rebels. There was an Ole Miss thing. They had a pom-pom that was actually moving and in motion. Really, really cool scene here in Oxford, and I'm sure there's going to be a very cool scene after the game down in as well.
I think there could be some adult hydration going on down at the square tonight, whether it's City Grocery or Snack Bar. It's going to be a good time out. I think we should stick around and just get a sense of the place.
You know, twist my rubber arm.
Should we do that?
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Logan Diggs in for Keywan Lacey. Katie was discussing the left shoulder injury for Lacey. No need to have him in there at 34-3. Meanwhile, Diggs, I mean, what a luxury to have Diggs as your backup running back, a guy who was a star at Notre Dame, a starter at LSU for times, and comes here to Ole Miss to be part of this sensational offense that's third in the country in total offense. They average nearly 500 yards per game. And of course, you know what is coming down the road on New Year's Day, the Sugar Bowl against the 3-seed Georgia, rematch.
Well, in order to win this, Ole Miss is going to have to do a better job running the football. Here, 665 pounds, can't move one deep tackle. Lacey only had 31 rushing yards. They also had way too many coverage busts on the back end. You got Brancher on a swing route, occupies 2 defenders. Lawson Lucky wide open in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown. What I did like, though, was Trinidad Chambliss. And if you've watched Georgia play in the second half of the season, their third down package has gotten a lot better. That time, Chambliss able to beat the rush, able to beat the spy, and takes it in for a touchdown himself. No question to me, with or without Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss good enough to win that game, that rematch in a neutral site. This is the last play we were showing you there. Rusher coming off the edge, Chambliss and his athleticism able to step up. There's the spy and makes a miss and takes it in himself.
So that was Georgia's 43-35 win against Ole Miss in the regular season. Georgia had that incredible fourth quarter. They outscored Ole Miss 17-0 in that fourth quarter as Gordon takes it ahead and is pushed back that time by Franklin. They outgained the Rebels 143-13 in that fourth quarter, Jeff.
Yeah, it's important to remember they went in and they scored touchdowns on their first five drives. They were winning with under 8 minutes to go on the road in the fourth quarter, and that's when Georgia rallied and came back. That was easily the worst game Ole Miss has played on defense this year. If they tighten it up in the back end, if they're able to establish and get some balance running the football, and obviously Keywan Lacey's injury is going to be a big question mark heading into that one.
There's Chambliss there. I'm curious to see how he approaches things, because Jesse, to your point, he was masterful the first 3 quarters.
Oh, yeah.
262 yards of passing touchdowns, then just 1 of 10 passing in that fourth quarter. Retzloff gets it downfield to Pascuzzi, his tight end.
Well, what you got to remember, too, I think, is Georgia's defense has really improved even since that.
Yes.
They're only allowing 7 points a game their last 4 games out, and so that is a big mountain to climb, I think. If your Ole Miss is explosive as they are, they're going to have to come up with a great game plan.
We broadcast Georgia early in the season. Then we had them in the big rivalry game against Georgia Tech. It was a distinct difference in the things they're doing defensively and how they're approaching it.
I think on third downs in particular, they're having some issues getting pressure on the quarterback at the start of the year. They've been very exotic and very creative with their personnel groupings and some of the looks, some of their packages, which has made them much more difficult to move the football against.
Here's what they're looking at to see if Johnny Pascuzzi made that line to gain and if it's a Tulane first down or not.
Taj Chambers in coverage trying to get the tackle, and where's the football in relation to that marker when his knee hits right there? Looks to me like maybe the football is just a little bit short of that first down marker.
Winner here, Ole Miss with a 31-point lead. You advance to the Sugar Bowl against Georgia, number 3 Georgia, college football playoff quarterfinal. And then you just think about those 2 brands, and you think of how much it means to play in the Sugar Bowl for these fans, and to have 2 SEC schools in the Sugar Bowl. They played in the Sugar Bowl, lost to Baylor in 2022, but it'll be 10 Sugar Bowls now for Ole Miss with a victory today. That's 4th most behind Alabama, LSU, and Georgia. Georgia's had 12 Sugar Bowls, but just those 2 brands, the tradition rich of the big Southern program playing in New Orleans, that'll be something special on New Year's night.
Georgia, a team that obviously has been very dominant in the SEC here in recent years, 5 straight SEC championship games, but Ole Miss these last couple of games really has matched up well with them.
The ball carrier was short of the line to gain.
I think no question Ole Miss has the horses now. They got to be healthy, and getting Keywan Lacey back in the backfield is going to be massive, I think, in their chances in that game. The good news is that game is still over, 10 days away?
Yeah.
So an opportunity to get healthy. It's not in the regular season where you've got a quicker turnaround, but And that's going to be must-watch TV in New Orleans.
This crowd is soaking in every minute of this, aren't they? 4th down and 1. They are still roaring. The largest crowd in the history of Hemingway Stadium as Tulane, from their own 34, a 4th and 1. And Retzlaff, ball came out at the end there. The ball came out as he was diving ahead, and Perkins came up with it.
Well, I think it was Perkins that also forced the fumble. He forced the fumble earlier on Retzlaff and doing a great job. He defeats the tight end's block. He gets in the backfield. Retzlaff started spinning as he was going to the ground. Ball came out, and it was Perkins who came up with it.
A big play by Suntarian Perkins on what's turning into be a perfect afternoon and early evening for the home team. The Rebels are roaring in the first round of the college football playoff. First game for Pete Golding as a head coach. It's working out just fine, isn't it? Great scene here in Oxford, where aerial coverage is brought to you by Goodyear. Tried, tested, proven legendary. They brought out everything tonight to host a playoff. Of course, Oregon will host the last of our 4 first-round playoff games, and that means Dante Moore will be center stage for the Ducks. 24 touchdowns on the season for Oregon, the 5 seed going up against 12th-seeded James Madison right here on TNT.
Well, an interesting quarterback comparison here. We know what Dante Moore has done this season. Alonzo Barnett has been outstanding, both throwing and running the football. And you team him up with their running back Knight. They do a great job of possessing the football. Number 2 in the nation in time of possession, much like what Tulane was trying to do tonight. JMU is going to be trying to do in Eugene, trying to stay on the field and limit Dante Moore's possessions.
Trinidad Chambliss, a lot of green space as he slides inside the 10-yard line. Now remember, he left the game earlier, was cleared to come back. You're up 34-3 in the 4th quarter. Your thoughts on him being in the game?
I just don't think you need him in there at this point. You've already lost Keywan Lacey due to injury. This is a really nice decision. There's a giant lane to run through. He's going to do that, but you absolutely want to limit the hits. Great job by him getting down and sliding here, but I'd be very careful with the play calling at this point if you're Charlie Weiss Jr. and Ole Miss, just to limit the damage on Trinidad Chambliss.
Logan Diggs made a couple of defenders miss and then drags 2 ahead to the 7-yard line.
And obviously expect at this time now, with under 12 minutes to go, you got a 31-point lead, probably not going as fast. From a tempo standpoint, going to slow everything way down and just try and run the football. As Pete Golding looks on, really impressed with the energy his team came to the ballpark with today in his first game as head coach.
Not an easy situation to step into to manage in recent weeks after all the turmoil and doubt as to what was happening here. He made it a players first mentality, and it has paid off as Diggs runs into an offensive lineman in front of him.
Well, that time it was Mo Westmoreland, the transfer from UTEP, just completely stoning. It was Luke Haas, tight end. And Logan Diggs ran right into him. This D-line, you know, they've had their hands full with a much bigger offensive line from Ole Miss. And 2 sacks on the day. They're still out there competing. This has been the strength for Tulane all season long. Still making plays here late.
Chambliss going to scoot ahead, and he dives ahead for the touchdown. Seven straight games with over 30 points for Ole Miss. That's the longest streak in program history.
Well, it's a really nice individual effort. And we talked about his first 5 yards and how fast he is and how quick he is and explosive. He just shoots through that gap, and a great individual effort getting over the end zone. But you've got to have lane integrity when you're rushing, and this is where he runs through, and he's able to outrun Sam Howard. I'm sure Georgia watching this game right now, and something that their coaching staff is going to be reminding their players in pass rush against this guy. Everybody has got to stay in their gaps. You have to do your assignment.
It's been a special season for Trinidad Chambliss. What a scene here in Oxford. 41-3.
College football playoff first round is presented by Allstate. You're in good hands.
You know, it wasn't long ago that assistant coach Charlie Weiss Jr. found the X.com page of Trinidad Chambliss with the highlights and the contact info and said, there's this young quarterback who's winning a Division II national championship. Came here to Oxford, got the opportunity to be the starter week 3, and he's been sensational.
Coaches talk about how he's just a sponge and he's always looking for an edge. You see him talking to Joe Judge there, going over the plays on the drive, and he's just always looking for coaching points and things that he can focus on and digest and process. And he's just gotten better each and every game.
Up by 38 points are the Rebels. The largest win margin in a postseason game is 32 points. That happened twice in the Gator Bowl last year, then the Sugar Bowl in 1958. Here's Trinidad Chambliss.
Well, he's been spreading it around all game long. It's something that we've seen him do here. He starts in the running game, little play fake, and then finding in the slot there, dribbling on the stick route. Nice job on the dagger over the middle of the field, and then swinging it out to Logan Diggs as well. It's been receivers, it's been tight ends, it's been running backs, and when no one's open, he's just taking off and he's doing it himself. Making very, very good decisions. And again, it's the decision making and avoiding the negative plays that I think has been a critical part and factor in Ole Miss's success this season.
Retzloff trying to finish strong here, right to the wire as he finds a diving effort from Amari Hayes. Retzloff began his career in junior college, transferred to BYU, found success there. There was a suspension and the issue there and forced him to transfer. Found a home at Tulane, led him to the American Championship against North Texas. Tough, gritty veteran quarterback with 11 wins this season for the Green Wave.
That's a great point, Joe, and I don't think this game should take away from, I think, one of the better stories in college football this year. Has to withdraw from BYU, days later enrolls at Tulane, just days before training camp, and really quickly had to learn the offense, had to establish himself as a leader, and here he is quarterbacking his team in the college football playoff.
2nd and 6. Retzloff as he gets it complete for a first down. And it's Brown Stevens who has been one of his favorite targets today. I'll show you the path that he's taken because it is a curious route for Retzloff to find success here from Golden West Community College. Then he goes to Riverside Community College. So he was the #1 JUCO quarterback who then lands at BYU. And this year, tons of success with the Green Wave. Here's the trick play as Hayes tried to throw it back to Retzloff, but it was denied by Graham, the true freshman.
You're seeing a lot of the depth and a lot of the athleticism that Ole Miss has. We knew Tulane was going to try a lot of trick plays in this game and just try and be aggressive. And at this point, being down as much as they are, why not? But good job here by Graham, just staying under control and knocking that thing down. And by the way, even if he had gotten that thrown off and Retzloff catches it, he's getting tackled right away. Ole Miss was there on the back end.
Saw Retzloff also on a kickoff return formation where they faked a throwback to him. Seen a few trick plays attempted today by Tulane. John Sumrall, of course, will be bringing all his success to Gainesville as the next head coach at Florida. By the way, a couple of amazing coordinator hires by Sumrall with the Gators.
That's the thing that I think has been most impressive is you're going out and you're getting a stalwart on D coordinator in Brad White, who's had a lot of success coordinating at Kentucky. And then, in my opinion, one of the best offensive coordinators in the country, and Buster Faulkner coming over from Georgia Tech. He's done an outstanding job building his staff in Gainesville.
And he's done an outstanding job of staying the course, of being loyal to his team here with Tulane, of seeing things through with a unique situation. Obviously, Preston with the catch there, but this is what the new Florida staff with John Sumrall is going to look like. I mean, that's an all-star team.
No question.
Right there.
And one thing you got to remember with John Sumrall is all this guy has done as a head coach is win. 2 years as a head coach at Troy, goes to the conference championship game both years, 2 years at Tulane, conference championship game both years as well. Finds a way to motivate his guys, but no question, delegating and getting the staff right, he's been hitting home runs.
Retzloff puts it in the ground there on first down. So double duties for him, but we talk about the commitment that he made of seeing things through. He says, I got 2 phones, 2 jobs, 2 hours of sleep. That's the truth. And very generous, and also giving $100 grand to the NIL fund, so that Tulane can help maintain the success that he has been a part of. 43 years old, going to be the new head coach for the Florida Gators. Second and 10, incomplete.
Sumrall said how you leave a place is as important as how you arrive. And he said in 20 years, when this team is honored on campus in New Orleans, I want to be part of that celebration. I want to be able to stand toe-to-toe with these players and be welcomed back to campus. The former middle linebacker at Kentucky, okay, that tells me a lot. He's a middle linebacker. He loves his job. He loves his players. He has brought an honest and direct approach. That's what you're getting at Florida.
Well, Quinn, he's left this program at Tulane in really good hands for Will Hall on his staff, who's going to take over as their 3rd head coach in 4 years.
And get that continuity of Hall getting a big job of having a staff member get it as it's overthrown for Brown Stevens.
See Will Hall right there. He's a guy that was offensive coordinator here at Tulane back in 19 and 20, and then went to be the head coach at Southern Miss. And in 22 actually took his team into New Orleans and beat the Tulane squad that ended up winning the Cotton Bowl and beat USC at the end of that year. So a guy that understands, I think, the environment, understands the culture at Tulane, but a guy that's also been a head coach at West Georgia and West Alabama, who has that experience as well, and taking over a program with so much success these last 4 seasons.
Here's a 4th and 10. Retzloff, they were collapsing on him as he had to get rid of the ball, and a flag does come down at the 35-yard line.
Offense, number 76, penalty is declined. Results the play is a turnover on downs. First down, Ole Miss.
That's Derek Graham at left tackle, getting the hold on the perimeter. It's going to be Ole Miss taking back over. Joe, it has been dominant. Both sides of the ball. And Pete Golding's first game as their new head coach.
Remember, still to come your way, James Madison, the 12 seed at Oregon. Coach Chesney is going to be headed to take that UCLA job, but he's got the Dukes there against the Ducks tonight to close out the first round of the college football playoff. That is 7:30 p.m. right here on TNT. Austin Simmons in at quarterback as Taylor gets the carry for Ole Miss. So the reserves are in now with a 41-3 score, and coming up on 7 minutes to play in this first round game. You think about the college football playoff, we've got a couple group of 5 teams, and there's Notre Dame at 10 wins. And if it was a different system, can you imagine this would have been Notre Dame at Ole Miss?
Listen, I'm all about inclusivity, and I'm fine with one group of 5 team making it into the 12-team fold, and that team deserved to be Tulane. They won the best group of 5 conference. They beat Duke, the eventual ACC champion. But as a fan, I want to see the other 11 teams that have a legitimate chance of winning a national championship. And I think you and I, having seen, and Katie, having seen Notre Dame in person this year, I think you and I both feel that Notre Dame had a legitimate chance to compete for a national championship this year. I don't know if James Madison really does. We're going to find out tonight how they look against Oregon. But as we keep talking about, we keep working towards getting the 12 best teams in the playoff, I do think you have to cap the group of 5 participation at just one team as a starting point.
People have been open in talking about the why. So why is this? Why is there inclusion? Why do we have the group of 5 in? At the end of the day, you're avoiding antitrust lawsuits. You're basically saying, hey, the Power 4 conferences can't hog the whole thing. You have to have some inclusion. But the fans sit there and they say, I want the best 12 teams. I want to see a national championship, to your point, where everybody truly is there to contend for a national championship. This has been a completely non-competitive game. If this was Notre Dame, what kind of game would we have?
Imagine how big this environment already is for this one, and what that would have looked like if Notre Dame had that opportunity. Of course, we got a rematch of something we already saw on the scoreboard in this game, not much different than what we saw earlier in September. So I think this is something that the committee needs to continue working out as they press forward, as you take a look at what the bracket looks like right now. Obviously, we know that Miami has advanced. They're going to be playing Ohio State. It'll be Ole Miss and Georgia in a rematch, which is going to be great. Indiana, Bama out in the Rose Bowl, fantastic. We'll find out what happens tonight between Oregon and James Madison to see who has the privilege of taking on Texas Tech, the Big 12 champion, in the Orange Bowl.
So Alabama against Indiana in the Rose Bowl game. Ole Miss against Georgia in the All-State Sugar Bowl. Miami and Ohio State in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl. And then Oregon and JMU tonight. And Sam Howard, the linebacker for Tulane, who second time that the medical team has been out to check on him.
Well, he's an incredibly tough player. We documented, you heard from Quint earlier in the game, where he broke a fibula earlier in the season against East Carolina, and 2 games later was playing against Memphis. He goes in and extend the tackle. Chris Rogers he comes off the sideline. He's a captain, and you can see the respect his teammates have for him.
You can also hear this record crowd here at Vaught Hemingway Stadium that was just chanting. And what they were chanting, Jesse, was Pete, 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 as in their new head coach, Pete Golding.
There's a lot of excitement for him. And he's a Mississippi guy, right? Played and coached at Delta State. I got to say, I love the hire because of his familiarity, not just with this school and this program, but I think also within the SEC and within the state of Mississippi.
Katie, in hanging out with him, he has taken the correct approach.
Yeah, he has, Tess. He also said when Lane Kiffin came to him a little bit ago and said, hey, we're going to go here and leave, Golding said, no, we're not. I'm not leaving. I came here for a certain reason, and I'm not going to leave this place. And that loyalty has gained him a lot of respect from not only his players, but certainly this fan base. And we've seen it throughout the course of this evening, guys.
And Katie, how about when he turned to us the other day? He said, I told the team I wanted to finish out any championship opportunity. Asked the players. He said, yeah, we want you to do that. So he says, Jesse, this is a player-led team, that they drive the train, and he just tries to keep it on the tracks.
Well, I also like that Pete Golding isn't trying to change or be anybody that he's not now that he is the head coach moving forward. He knows what his identity is. He knows who he is and what he's about, and he's not going to change the way he dresses. He got a haircut for his, for his press conference.
He's not, listen, he would be the first to tell you he's not about that.
No, that was a big step for him. He's not going to be doing hot yoga anytime soon. I know that. He might enjoy a few cold ones after this one too, but I think that's one thing the players certainly love about him. He can look them in the eye. They know what he's about. They know what they're going to get, and that's so important at this juncture of the season in the playoffs.
As Maurice Turner takes it ahead, and he gets back to the line of scrimmage. Let's show you what happened earlier today in the Grove. Universally accepted as the premier tailgating spot in college football. And the love that they were showering down on Pete Golding, well, you could hear it. It was loud as Trinidad Chambliss and the crowd and the team made their way through, but he said it was player-led. Remember, Lane Kiffin used to be right at the front of that going through the Grove, and Pete Golding said this is going to be a player-led team, and that was the statement he wanted to make as Shaz Preston takes it ahead. He wanted the players to be going through the Grove on that Rebel Walk. There it is.
That's what his hair looked like before
now,
the introductory press conference.
Just by taking the shot of these three guys wearing the Pete Golding hair and visor, that come next spring, probably come the Sugar Bowl, you are going to see thousands of those. So Preston had the 40-yard reception. And Retzloff showing you a little bit of his ability running the ball as he takes it ahead for a first down here. Under 5 minutes to play in this first round college football playoff game.
Well, I think if you're John Sumrall, the head coach at Tulane, you're watching the last several minutes here as head coach of this program. It's good to see your guys still out there competing. And I was talking to Coach Sumrall before the game, and I said, hey, sometimes when you just watch film, you can tell when kids love playing for you and they play with great energy. And he said it's so easy with this group. They show up every day. They come to work. They have the right attitude. They've had phenomenal leadership all season long in their locker room.
Have they ever? Think about the success that he has had. As this is the tight end, Reed, as he strides inside the 10 and right into the end zone. Justin Reed with the touchdown. Good job staying in bounds, keeping his balance. 29-yard touchdown reception.
Well, nice job by the big fella, just tight roping down the sideline. And he's a big dude, 6'5", 255 pounds. The Southern Miss transfer able to stay in bounds. The play fake just froze a linebacker for a split second that allowed him to get into the flat. And, you know, Pete Golding, he's the head coach. He's still the DC, though, at heart, and that always drives you nuts because it's all about finishing. That's the message you're always trying to deliver to your team. Compete all the way until there's zeros on the clock.
So John Sumrall's team trying to fight right to the end as they score their first touchdown. And John Sumrall, this is a head coach that won a couple of Sun Belt championships at Troy. Of course, won the American Conference title this year. But there have been 6 head coaches in major college football to win 9+ games in the last 4 seasons. Now, Kirby Smart, Freeman, Ryan Day, Dan Lanning, DeBoer, and John Sumrall.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
When you think about it, just the level of success he's had. And listen, I know for Gator fans, so many were hopeful they were going to get Lane Kiffin. But the thing you got to remember is great coaches all start somewhere. Nick Saban did. I mean, Urban Meyer at Florida, he was back at Bowling Green back in the day as a head coach. And so, you know, if they hit this thing right, I know that's something Gators are certainly hoping for. Get the right guy with the right juice, putting the right staff together to get Florida back competing for SEC championships the way their fans are used to doing.
See the unique formation by Tulane. It's Patrick Durkin. See if we get the onside attempt off of this before they split out. And he talked about having everything in the bag in special teams this week. But he does kick away here with this 41-10 score. Sugar Bowl awaits a rematch of what happened with Georgia and Ole Miss on October 18th.
Anticipated top 10 battle between the hedges. Breaking free. Dribbling in a foot race. Down the sideline. An electric touchdown. Ole Miss. Shot an end zone. Caught. Touchdown. Hat trick. Lawson Lucky. The most resilient team in college football. It's the Dogs' day.
Lawson Lucky had 3 touchdown receptions in that game. It was 43-35. Ole Miss led for over 34 minutes. They had a 35-26 lead in the fourth quarter, Jesse.
One thing I know, Pete Golding and this defensive staff, they're going to grind on their guys. They're going to spend a lot of time watching that film because they had a lot of self-inflicted wounds in that game.
Great matchup as Hartrip has the reception. Will be coming your way on New Year's Day night. And the way things shape up for that New Year's Day, man, oh man, is that going to be a special day of football.
I just think for Ole Miss, everyone's going to be kind of paying attention to Kejuan Lacey and sort of his status going into that one. I think it's going to be really hard for Ole Miss to move the ball consistently against Georgia. If they're having to throw it virtually each and every play, they've got to be able to have the bounce. That first game they did not, and when they had the lead late in the game and wanted to run it, they just couldn't get it done. Lacey, again, only had 31 rushing yards in that one, so obviously it's more important at this point to make sure he's back healthy.
Damian Taylor with the carry. So this will close out what has been an exceptional streak of home games for Ole Miss. 9-0 at home this season with this win. Most home wins in a season program history. This place, Vaught Hemingway Stadium, opened in 1915. But the scene here today has been so different than just the sleepy little southern town that everybody thinks of with Oxford, Mississippi, of famed writers like Faulkner and Grisham and the city square. This has been drones and laser shows and fireworks and a high-powered offense of a celebration of the college football playoff. They're down in 4. Austin Simmons, as he slides down short of that line to gain. Rogers was there to make the tackle. Two-minute timeout coming our way. Ole Miss, 448 yards of total offense. Harvey Dyson is down there as the training staff is out to see Harvey Dyson, who leads the team in sacks. Take another look at that college football playoff bracket. I've been telling you how exciting the action will be over the course from December 31st with what we now know will be Miami and Ohio State in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, with Alabama and Indiana meeting up out in Pasadena, and you can fill in Ole Miss for the All-State Sugar Bowl.
I think what's going to be key for Ole Miss in that game and moving forward with respect to their chances of winning a national championship, to me, Joe, I think is going to be the secondary for Ole Miss. That was a big question mark coming into this year. Had to replace 5 starters, went to the portal, and they've been a little bit up and down. And in that Georgia game last time, gave up 4 passing touchdowns. And we knew they were going to be fine against Tulane and these receivers, but moving forward to win that game, and if they do, going beyond, you're going to be playing either Ohio State or Miami, who can both throw the football as well. I think the secondary for Ole Miss, they're going to have to play at a very, very high level today. I think you can easily make the argument Jalen Braxton, a corner, was an MVP for this defense in this one, but that pass rush, those guys right there, being able to get after the quarterback and defend the pass, that's going to be massive for Pete Golding and Ole Miss.
What a scene here in Oxford as aerial coverage is brought to you by Goodyear. Legends aren't born, they're proven. We got some legends that are showing up on the Jumbotron. They're dancing on the sidelines to ABBA. It is party time in a place that says we never lost a party.
That's Xavier Harris. He's 6'8", 330.
But he can get down to Swedish pop groups from the 1970s.
It's a vast array of music they play here.
They're throwing coming out of the 2-minute timeout as Devin Price comes up with the reception.
Well, when Austin Simmons came in the game at the end of the first half, they let him throw it, and he throws an absolute dart here on 4th down to keep the offense on the field. And now at this point, expect some form of victory formation for Ole Miss. They can officially close the book.
I mean, even when they need a first down today, it's impressive, right? It's a 35-yard strike downfield just to close out the game.
You hear the Pete chants from the crowd still. And by the way, how many people have stayed in their seats? It's 41-10.
You got to think about the history of Ole Miss, and I think this is what people don't quite realize as you see Taylor taking it ahead, because they've had a lot of recent success. The way the locals think of themselves in the grand scheme of the power structure of the SEC. There's Bama, there's LSU, there's Georgia and Florida, and then there's Ole Miss. That always feels like they're fighting uphill. They're punching up. They're here in the college football playoff capable of winning a national championship, and they want to soak in every moment of it and experience every moment of this.
And their new head coach as well. And celebrate him. Lots to celebrate here in Oxford. We're celebrating at the Grove later.
As Simmons is going to take a knee. And Ole Miss is going to officially advance out of the first round of the college football playoff. And what a showcase event it'll be in New Orleans. Just a 5-hour drive south of here for the rematch against Georgia. Their only loss on the season when they were leading in the fourth quarter. And they're going to do it with a new head coach who they absolutely love out of the gate. Pete Golding is 1 for 1. And he's going to lead this team on New Year's Day a step closer for a hopeful national championship.
I think a big question coming into this one, what would they look like without Lane Kiffin? I think the answer in this one's pretty simple. They were dominant in all 3 phases of the game. An impressive win for Ole Miss. And a very confident team, I think, heading into that Sugar Bowl rematch with the Georgia Bulldogs.
They like to say around here, we've never lost a party. No, they haven't. 41-10 as they just celebrated with the Gatorade splash on their new head coach, Pete Golding. Katie.
Pete, that was a dominant first-round performance. What impressed you most about the way your team played tonight?
I was just excited for them to put everything behind them and get back on the grass and do what they love to do. And so they created a great opportunity for themselves and came out and responded how I thought they would.
What'd you learn about your players, given the way they handled themselves over the last few weeks?
They're the same guys that we recruited. They're tough, they're competitive, they love football, they're resilient, they've got grit. It's a group that enjoys playing together. So we knew we were playing for another opportunity. We don't want it to end.
This was your first game as a head coach. What was tonight like for you?
It's good when you got good players. So we'll see what they're chanting next time.
You faced Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. What excites you about getting that rematch?
Really nothing right now. No, Kirby and them do an unbelievable job. Obviously, we played them at their place earlier in the year. Didn't play very well. We're going to play really well, but they do a great job.
Enjoy. Congratulations. Best of luck moving forward.
Appreciate you.
Tess.
Let's go to Quint.
Trinidad Chambliss, we're kind of soaking it in right here. How do you best describe this environment, this atmosphere, this feeling?
Man, this is amazing. Hearing these fans, we love them. We love the support that they have, and I'm happy that Ole Miss got a first playoff win.
It's been a tumultuous last month here in Oxford. How was the team able to get off to such a fast start today, given the drama?
I think we just wanted to play football. Yeah, appreciate you. We haven't played in about 3 weeks, and we were hungry to play. We were watching the SEC championship game, and we felt like we should have been in that, but it is what it is. But, our guys, we just want to win, and we want to play football.
What type of response does Pete Golding get from the team?
We love PG. He's a motivator. He knows how to get to us, and he loves to win. So we like playing for a guy like that.
Trinidad, great job tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. God bless.
Joe.
Quentin and Katie, great job tonight here on this first round coverage on TNT. All right, Jesse, what do you say we fill in this college football playoff bracket? The way it looks right now is only one first round game remains.
That's pretty amazing. And some of these matchups, you just feel like big-time matchups with Ohio State. Miami's defense looking so good earlier today against Texas A&M. Ole Miss, Georgia was great earlier in the year. We're going to see it again. Bama and that comeback win against Oklahoma gets the Heisman Trophy winner and #1 Indiana. And now we get to go to the Grove, Joe, and get Katie and Quinn and find out what happens over at Autzen Stadium tonight.
It's going to get a little silly here in Oxford. They've never lost a party, and they're going to be partying deep into the night. The drones spelled it out. Success on the field, 41-10. For Katie, Quint, Jesse, I'm Joe Tessitore. Enjoy the rest of your night. You got James Madison and Oregon coming up right here on TNT. But let's get you back to our college football scoreboard studio with Kevin and Booker. Gentlemen, take it away.
Tess, thank you. Ole Miss winning their first ever playoff game. Now getting ready for the Sugar Bowl in Georgia. Meanwhile, woo, look at the Ducks looking clean, Dante Moore.
That's the first thing I always look at. What uniform combination are they going with? They got 100, but that one right there is pretty clean.
They've won 6 straight games since losing to Indiana. Only have allowed its opponent to score over 20 points in one contest. James Madison is the matchup. Just over 30 minutes away. Kickoff here on TNT.